athletic driving play.
An upset win over number 6 Houston.
We'll react to the game. Plus, we take a look back at the first season of Aztec Fast.
Flushed out, throws for the back of the end zone. It is caught, and it is a touchdown on the far side. Incredible.
Now, time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? We are back, and by we are back, I mean I am here. This is my first Jon and Jim in over a week.
How does it feel to be back to do a 4-hour show after not doing one for 10 days?
No, that's not at all what happened. Here's what happened, first of all.
What are you
Here's
talking
what
about?
happened. That's
what
might be
happened.
true. That's what happened.
That's what happened.
Here's the truth, though. So I was in Vegas with San Diego State basketball.
Must be nice.
And then I took Thanksgiving off.
Oh, must be nice. It's great. You have a
and
family.
Black Friday.
Oh, you took Friday off as well?
I think I traveled last week for San Diego State at Utah State.
Oh, cool.
The point is I was doing things, and I know and I appreciate and understand you did those solo shows. And I feel for you when you did a 4-hour solo show and literally nothing happened?
No.
And it was the day before Thanksgiving. I may have.
No, you didn't feel anything.
You're sitting there breaking down like Mariners trades.
No, I spent like 2 segments talking about this stupid article about Nolan Arenado switching to first base potentially.
Yeah. And you're just sinking. Okay. It's like when you're swimming and you just can't stay afloat.
Like, oh, give me a Nolan Arenado nugget.
It was a lot, but we're back and we've got good giveaways today. We have San Diego State tickets to give away for an upcoming men's basketball game against USD. We'll have Jared Coleman-Jones on the show. He starred in that win over Houston on Saturday night, a great win that we'll talk about over the next couple of hours. Aaron Torres, Fox Sports Radio, who's a great college basketball voice, will join us coming up at 4 p.m. So we'll get to San Diego State basketball and football. I want to start, though, with this. We're a week away from the winter meetings, and it's a little bit of putting your trust in the hands of AJ Preller, trusting the process with Preller, because you look around baseball, and the Dodgers are just reloading up. A year ago, Yamamoto and Ohtani and Teoscar Hernandez. Then, of course, you spend a week talking about nothing, and then Blake Snell probably signs the second you're off the air.
Like, probably
the next day.
Not even joking. It was like the next day, right around what, like 4 or 5 or something?
Yeah, of course. Of course it would. So the Dodgers are they have no concern about anyone other than themselves. That's professional sports. That's what they should be concerned about. I mean, I would say this, like, you got to put your faith in AJ Preller. He came through in 2024. Can he come through in 2025? We can't control Blake Snell signing with the Dodgers. We can't control Yamamoto and Ohtani. What we can do is put our faith in AJ Preller. Can he come through? Does he have an ace up his sleeve, so to speak? We'll hear from Mike Shildt coming up. But what other option do you have as a Padres fan other than to trust AJ Preller this offseason to figure this thing out?
You have no other option.
You have no other option.
None. Reaction to Blake Snell signing with the Dodgers, not surprised at all. I really am not. It's honestly not as bad as it could be. Like if Blake Snell signed with like the Mets or the Phillies,
that would be worse.
I think a little worse.
Power across the National League,
right? Because you are never going to overtake the Dodgers in the first place. They're on top of the mountain, and they're not slipping off that mountain. Adding Blake Snell doesn't elevate them. They're already at the top. Like, how can you get better than being the best? You know? So it gives them a wider margin of error, which is concerning because they have Blake Snell, not for the regular season. They have him for the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what they are doing. They are accumulating the Infinity Stones and make.
What does that mean?
Oh, jeez.
Like Monopoly money? They have all the properties. They have Broadway and Park Place, or do they have Margate? Or are they going to jail? Is there a railroad crossing analogy?
It has nothing to do with Monopoly.
But like in Monopoly,
I was just letting him drown.
The Monopoly goal is to collect all the properties and all the money.
Yeah, but I was referencing Thanos in Avengers.
Dean?
Dean Thanos. No, you moron.
On.
They're
very similar people.
Yeah. They're just getting more powerful by the day. Is that even a word?
Dude, can we end this? Is this seriously 4 hours?
It might not be a word, but it's going to be the open tomorrow.
You wanted 4 hours, iHeart. You get 4 hours. You get more powerful.
More powerful.
Cut that for forever. Cut that for forever. I don't care where we work 20 years from now. I'm using it.
More powerfuler? Whatever.
You're such an idiot.
The Dodgers are becoming more powerful by the day by acquiring players that they don't technically really need, but they're getting them to make them better. And that's what I'm talking about,
Okay,
Blake Snell. And so I don't even know where we went. We are off the rails.
But here's
8 minutes into the show.
No,
6 minutes.
6 minutes in.
6 minutes in.
We're going to hear from Mike Shildt in a moment because maybe Preller has something up his sleeve because they're going to need it when Snell, Yamamoto, Ohtani, right? World Series. Like, it feels like everything's stacked against you. Now, the one thing I thought about with Snell, and hear me out on this, and I'd love to hear from Padres fans, 877-767-4760 or 70470 started with the word team. The one thing I thought about, does Snell to LA make it less likely that Roki Sasaki goes to LA? And in turn, then more likely ends up in San Diego? Because you have Tyler Glass now coming back. You have Shohei Ohtani pitching, theoretically, in 2025. They already have Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They have Clayton Kershaw, in theory, coming back. Dustin May. I'm missing others. So, like, they've got 5 or 6 starters. They have 7, probably.
Say Gonsolin.
Tony Gonsolin, thank you. But
Glass now.
I said Glass now.
Okay.
But, like, now that you've spent $200 on Snell, essentially, do you even need to put all the effort into Roki Sasaki, or
why not?
Does that put you in a position where you don't even need to worry about Sasaki, and that opens it up for a team like San Diego? Like, did you think that, like, once they got Snell, maybe they had an inkling they weren't getting Sasaki, or is this just such an embarrassment of riches? They doubled down on everything. They're like, we want Snell and Sasaki.
Yeah, why wouldn't you
get
want
Snell now?
Why wouldn't you want all of it? Why wouldn't you want all the Infinity Stones? Like,
all of them.
All of them. I want Snell. I want, from the Dodgers, Juan Soto. Let's get Roki Sasaki. Like, all of that. I think it would be a worse situation for the Padres if Blake Snell went to, like I said, somebody else. Like if he went to like the Phillies, and then you had Juan Soto go to the Mets,
yeah,
and then you had Roki Sasaki go to like the Braves, because those are the teams that you're going to compete with for a wild card spot every single year for the foreseeable future. And the Dodgers getting Blake Snell gives them what, 110 wins instead of 102 wins.
It shouldn't be that many.
But
I see your point. It just takes a team that's already great, that's already going to win the division, and further enhances them being locked into that spot.
Yeah.
Now, we said going into the year last year, I remember we spent time, maybe even in February, we're like, is it even worth discussing the division? But then you look up, Jim, and it plays out over 162, and we're like 140 games into the year, and the Padres and Dodgers were within a game or two of each other. We had Dan Zimborski from Fangraphs on last February. He said, it's not a guarantee that the Dodgers win the division. He's like, my metrics say there's a 15% chance they don't. They didn't even win, whatever this means. They didn't even win 100 regular season games last year. Now they won when it mattered in the postseason. My point is it over before it's even started?
It was already over before it started. As far
even last year?
As far as the division goes. Yes, you were harping on that nonstop to start the season. Division means nothing.
No, not that
they're not going to win.
But was it over?
Yeah.
When we actually watched the season play out, though, and the teams were relatively close to each other for most of the year.
The Dodgers had one of, like, in the last, 5-6 years, had probably their worst season. They still won 98 games.
Correct.
So they had no pitching at the end of the year. They were built off of their offense and their bullpen, and they won a World Series. And how many people have we talked to that says, yeah, talking to Dodgers executives, they think that of the stretch that they're about to embark on over the next 5, 6, 7 years, this probably was their worst team. And their worst team won 98 games. So getting Blake Snell for the Dodgers, yeah, it sucks. I never liked Snell in the first place as far as like giving him that much money. I would have lost it if the Padres gave Blake Snell a 5-year or 6-year, whatever it was, $182 million. But him going to the Dodgers, it sucks. You hate it. But at least he didn't go to a team that you're going to be truly competing with for a playoff spot, like the Mets and the Phillies and the Braves, or, the Giants or the Diamondbacks.
But isn't it Sophie's choice? Because, okay, yes, you
Cardinals.
At the end of the day, you want to be in the postseason, but at the end of the day, you don't want the Dodgers winning another World Series. So,
yes, you don't.
Like, if at the end of the day, is it any consolation prize when we're on social media and, like, are we telling Dodger fans, yeah, but the Padres were in the postseason this year? Like, that's not really making it feel better that the Padres were in a series with the Dodgers and led the series 2-1. My point is, I'd almost prefer, like, under that path, under that analogy or theory, I'd prefer The Phillies winning the World Series to the Dodgers winning the World Series. Like, if the Dodgers are loading up and they're going to be the best team in baseball and they're going to be in this stretch of winning 3 World Series in 4 years, that's not advantageous for anyone. Now, I get it. It's just like Sophie's Choice. It's bad either way. Like, would you rather not have the teams you're competing with for a wild card spot? You know what I mean? Like, okay, so you made it as the 6th seed, but the Dodgers won the World Series. That makes it better your year? Probably not at the end of the day.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I don't like it. And I don't think the Dodgers are done either. I don't. Padres have made no moves. Well, they did get that outfielder from Cleveland that had a SpongeBob walk-up music and had like a home run against the Rays in the playoffs a couple years ago.
And Tyler Wade.
And they re-signed Tyler Wade to a 1-year, $900,000 deal. And they didn't non-tender him. But like, the thing with the Dodgers is they're not done. And that is scary. But at least as of right now, and this could change very quickly with where Juan Soto goes and Corbin Burns and Pete Alonso and so forth and other trades and Roki Sasaki. But as of right now, if the Dodgers are the team that are, compiling and acquiring all these assets, it gives you a better shot to make the postseason if other teams around you that you're truly competing with aren't loading up with these players like Snell and Burns and Soto.
Maybe is my point. Because a year ago they traded off Soto. A year ago their roster didn't look as good as 2023. And a year ago they were better than 2023. This goes back to my initial point of the offseason. You can't worry about the person next to you lifting 225 when you can only lift 185. We can't worry about what the Dodgers do and what the Phillies do. It's out of your control. The only thing they control is the moves that they make this offseason.
Well, I will say this. While when you look at it from a standpoint of, all right, what gives this team a better chance to make the postseason? Is it the Dodgers loading up everybody, or is everybody being distributed? It's probably just the Dodgers loading up because other teams around you aren't getting better. But when you are every year going to be going up against the Dodgers in a postseason series potentially, yes, you need to make moves. You need to counter what the Dodgers are doing with some move in some type of way. You have to be as creative as possible because you can't match the Dodgers dollar for dollar ever anymore. And that's why after Snell signing, Sasaki, it's Sasaki or bust, in my opinion, for the Padres.
The one area where AJ Preller doesn't get beat is creativity. Like, I won't question his ability to make moves that resonate. Now, if they work, we'll find out. But they worked in 2024. Does he have something up his sleeve? We'll hear from Mike Shildt on the other side. Reaction to San Diego State returning to the AP Top 25 in men's basketball and finishing their football season at 3-9. Plus Aztec basketball tickets to give away. Great guest today. We're here until 6 p.m.
Powerfuler.
We ate turkey, and by we, I mean Jim.
You didn't eat turkey. You ate tofurkey.
Correct. It's Jon and Jim. Stay with us. All right, San Diego State basketball on the road Wednesday. It is the Mountain West opener, early December in Fresno against Fresno State. Pre-game coverage begins at 7. Myself and, well, actually just myself. Tail off the tip from Fresno around 7:30. You're home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports. 7:60. We'll get to San Diego State at the bottom of the hour. I want to hear from AJ. Actually, we're not going to hear from AJ Preller, but I do want to hear from his manager, Mike Shildt. So Mike Shildt goes on the Foul Territory podcast, which we've played more than Jon and Jim on Jon and Jim.
We should just simulcast the show.
We really should. We have the extra hour.
We do.
We have time. So this is Mike Shildt on, like, does AJ Preller have anything up his sleeve this offseason for the Padres or not?
Yeah, no, he's doing something. This cat, you know him, AJ. I mean, our man Preller, he sleeps very little. He plays a little hoops. And then he is looking to dominate every day on behalf of the Padres. So, yeah, does he have something up his sleeve? He's got stuff up both sleeves, down his pants, in his shoes.
Wait, what?
I mean, he's got stuff going on everywhere. This cat is always getting after it. So, I couldn't even begin to keep up with hardly any of it. I just tell him when he gets close to something, let me know, and he'll call to run something by me as far as makeup of a player or just thoughts on a player. But he's a force of nature, man. So he's going to do everything he can within the parameter he's given to give us a competitive club.
So he has something down his pants.
He has something down his pants. He said that.
Okay, that's the takeaway.
That's all I got from that.
He's down his pants, in his shoes.
Dude, Mike Shildt says some interesting things.
He is he's an interesting
one of
cat.
one.
He is definitely a one-of-one person. Okay. He's got something down his pants, up his sleeves.
Both of his sleeves.
Both of his sleeves, and his socks, and his jock strap.
Down his pants.
And his belt.
I think, honestly, that's going to prove to be true. Not that he has something down his pants, but that he's making moves this offseason.
What does he have down his pants?
He's got something down there, according to Mike Shildt.
Why does Mike Shildt know this?
That could be the key to the offseason. No, but here's the thing. When has Preller not won offseasons? I mean, he's won a lot of them. He's had 3, 4, 5.
He lives for the offseason trophies.
Like, he's won trade deadlines and off seasons. He hasn't won postseasons or regular seasons historically, but is it that hard to imagine that they do make a sizable no pun intended, move
down his pants
this offseason?
Likes to play ball and just fiddle with stuff down his pants.
Right. That's
down his pants.
Down his pants.
You want an extra hour.
Yeah, there you go. Down his pants.
You get an extra
up
hour.
His sleeves, in his socks, in his pockets, playing pocket pool. Well, he's gonna have to make some moves this offseason. They can't they can't.
No, they're good.
And by some moves, I don't mean signing guys to minor league contracts and
the Tyler Wade $900,000
and saying like, oh, we're gonna give this guy a shot to have more playing time, and we're gonna make a trade for this random guy. Like, he's gonna have to keep up, and I know that it's gonna be difficult with the play the end of that, Brent. I think he said at the end of this. Listen to what he's. I think this is the clip because I listen to a bunch of them, but play the end of that when he talks about. I think that he's going to do what he can with what he has with them in the parameters. Yeah. Play that last part again, Brent, if you can find it.
All right, he's finding it. It's in the last like 7 seconds.
Yeah, 7 or 8 seconds.
I think he used the P word, parameters.
Yeah, I just want to hear him say it. Just play the end of it, Brent.
He's queuing it up.
He's going to do everything he can within the parameter he's given to give us a competitive club.
That's
the key. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, right. I mean, I read MLB trade rumors this weekend, and I thought it was a really well put together piece, which was essentially if they're going to return their payroll to 2024, that means they got to cut payroll. And you say, what are you talking about? If they're going to have the same payroll as 2024, they need to cut payroll. Why? Because Dylan Cease will make more in 2025. He's an arbitration guy. Michael King will make more. Luis Ariz will make more. If you bring Jurickson Profar back, his $1 million turns into 10 or 15 million. So they theorize you need to pare down $40 million for the Padres to maintain the Kings, Ceases, Arizes, other pieces on the periphery as well. I think it's well said. A year ago, it was Juan Soto. You traded away $30 million. The trade worked out for both sides. Padres did well considering the circumstance. This year, it's not as obvious. And MLB trade rumors this weekend saying, would the Padres consider trading Luis Ariz, which is something we have talked about since the day the season ended, because Ariz is going to make a lot of money, And Arise might be the guy that actually puts them over. And if it's Arise or King or Cease and someone's got to go, you could then argue the merits of who has to go among that group.
It's really a no-brainer. If you told me you have to choose, gun to your head, like you have to pick 2 of these 3 players to keep for next year, it's King and Cease. As much as I love Luis Arise, like that, he would be the odd man out, unfortunately.
What if you had Cease? Excuse me. What if you had
And I would hate
Arise?
it.
What if you had Arise for the next 4 years because you
Okay.
signed him?
Okay.
What if you had King for the next 4 years because you signed him?
Okay.
And what if you let Cease not just walk at the end of this deal, you traded away Dylan Cease because you're not bringing him back. So you get the long-term flexibility of Arise and King. You now have them through the decade, but you're losing Cease in the now. You're parting ways with $10 million, and you're bringing pieces back that are cheaper, and you're supplementing.
No.
You'd rather go all in on 2025, potentially lose either Cease or Arise anyway.
Because, yeah, like you got to go all in on 2025. You're already pot committed with the amount of contracts and money that you've given to these players. Like, you know, we talk about, the Padres. Yes, they're all in. They've been all in since 2019 when they signed Manny Machado.
What if all in on 2025 means, though, no Arise or Cease in 2026? Because Arise, last year of a deal. Cease, last year of a deal.
Well, that's
maybe they get King done.
Well, Preller's got to search down his pants to figure out how to, fix that
Well, that
problem.
might be
Down his
Contenda.
pants.
That might be Contenda.
Well, Contenda.
I don't know whose money.
I don't know
whose
either.
pants has the money.
I don't know either. You're right. I don't know whose pants AJ Preller's searching through to find whatever he needs to build a competitive team. Because at this point in time in the offseason, why Sasaki is so enticing is because of the money aspect of it.
Because he makes no money.
You're not paying him anything.
Like nothing.
Nothing.
By baseball standards, nothing.
And you get potentially an ace pitcher for like $5 to $6 million
for 6 years.
For 6 years? Sign me the F up.
Yeah, and that's why he's going to be coveted by 20 teams.
Exactly.
Not just 2.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Dodgers, Padres. I mean, they might be the last 2 standing.
But I will be, and the fan base will be so disappointed, and rightfully so, because this fan base deserves the ownership of this team to put their best foot forward year after year until proven otherwise or until further notice.
Right.
Because the fans show up, they sell that place out, jerseys are flying off the shelf, hats are flying off the shelf.
Yeah, but I agree. I get it. I agree with you. The premise is fair, but they also don't have unlimited resources. Even selling jerseys and even selling 3 million tickets doesn't mean that they're going to be able to go beyond means. At the end of the day, they're going to have means. They don't have the TV revenue that the Dodgers have.
Does Preller have something down his pants to fix that too?
The TV deal?
Yeah. Can Preller search his pants and can he pull something out that will help
I don't
the TV
think he's
deal?
pulling anything out of his pants to help the TV deal. Would be my guess.
Yeah, probably not.
That's probably more contender grouper.
Going down AJ's pants and pulling something out?
On the other side, there's no good segue because it is Jim.
Down his pants.
It was a great week for San Diego State men's basketball. We'll explain on the other side. Of course, they took down Houston on Saturday. Plus, we'll get into the Aztecs football team coming off a 3-9 season with signing day actually coming up on Wednesday for the Aztecs. Should the Padres trade Luis Arise? Why or why not? 70470 start it with team or 877-767-4760. We're here until 6 p.m. It's Jon and Jim.
Down his pants.
All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. We'll start with San Diego State coming off their third place finish in the Players Era Tournament, beating Creighton and Houston. They're ranked inside the top 25 AP polls for the first time this year, coming in at number 24. Miles Bird was named Mountain West Player of the Week. Farrell Compton named Freshman of the Week in the Mountain West Conference. And NFL news of the day, 49ers are dead. Christian McCaffrey, season's likely over. He has a PCL sprain, and Jordan Mason has a high ankle sprain put on IR. McCaffrey's going to be out at least 6 weeks. Will probably end his season. And this update has been brought to you by Progressive.
Hi, Jared Coleman-Jones had a huge game against Houston. He will join us coming up at 3:30. First year in an Aztecs uniform, the senior for San Diego State. Aaron Torres is a great voice on college basketball as well. He'll join us at 4. Plus, we have Aztec basketball tickets against USD December 7th. That is this
Saturday.
weekend. That's Saturday. We'll give those away coming up during Trainwreck Radio in the 4 o'clock hour. What do you have?
I got all mixed up, and I thought that Jared Coleman-Jones was joining us right now, but then I remembered, 4 hours.
We have
show.
the extra hour. So just
Yeah,
get
wait.
ready. He's going to join us.
Settle in, boys and girls.
Here's what's interesting. That San Diego State had a great week, right? By everyone's.
The basketball program
it was,
is.
You beat Creighton, you beat Houston. I mean, Houston has been as good as San Diego State's been the last 5 years. Houston's been right there, if not better, which very few programs can say. I mean, they've been among the best in the sport. Like San Diego State, you got this veteran Houston team with some All-American types, LJ Cryer and their forwards, and I mean, just a great team.
You told me that you said Houston is basically like San Diego State in like 3 years because
they have
how
24-year-olds.
old they are. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you got this veteran Houston team against all these first-time starters for San Diego State, and the Aztecs take the punch back and win in overtime. Mm-hmm. And then, me, today is Christmas for me.
It's net ranking
because
day.
the net rankings came out. Okay.
Hallelujah.
So it was honestly,
Hallelujah.
it was hard for me to sleep. I took melatonin last night
because you couldn't sleep.
I checked it at midnight.
Oh,
I'm like,
my
maybe it'll be up at midnight. I then listen to this. I get up to use the restroom at, let's say, 5:50.
First thing you looked at your phone, right?
Immediately.
I
immediately Googled net rankings. And I go to the site and it's still like the 2024, like last March rankings.
You're psycho.
But then at like 6:02, just in bed, like refreshing. And there's John Rothstein, like the initial net rankings. So I click on it.
You're immediately
and I'm like, where are we? I'm like, where's San Diego State? Like 7th? No, 12th. I'm scrolling. Oh, 20th, must be like 5th, 20th, top. Yeah. And then I get to like 50. I'm like, I got to re-scroll.
You're like, whoa.
I'm going back to the top.
What are they?
They're 60th in the net, which is a damn conspiracy, but I'm not going to lose my mind over it.
Sometimes Ken Pump's full.
Right. Thank you.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to lose my mind over it. There's no data in this thing. It's going to sort out. The Aztecs have played like 15% of their games.
So you see Irvine like 7th or
24th.
24th.
It makes 0 sense. Like they've beaten Houston and Creighton, and they've lost to Gonzaga and Oregon, two of the best teams in the country. Like 60th. It's not good enough. Then there's other teams that have played nobody. They're like 10th. So I'm not going to lose my mind over that. All I can concern myself with
80 against Occidental.
All I can concern myself with, that game doesn't count.
I know it doesn't.
Is what I'm seeing with my eyes. What I'm seeing is them beating Houston in overtime, taking a punch and punching back. The way they played so well against Creighton. I know they're without their starting point guard in that game, Stephen Ashworth. But how could you not like what you're seeing if you're a San Diego State basketball fan?
I remember before the season started, after last year's season ended, and you had all the moves, right? You lost Jaden Ledee. Lamont Butler transferred to Kentucky.
You had Elijah Saunders go to Virginia, Micah Parrish, Ohio State.
Right.
Reese Waters-Foot.
Right. So all of these moves. And I remember sitting here. We had callers and the text line, and everyone's like, oh, it's ridiculous. I can't believe there's so many changes. What are they going to do here? What are they going to do here? And I remember us talking and saying, look, I'm excited about this new team because this is what college sports and college basketball especially is. You don't really get now in the day of the transfer portal and NIL guys staying at one place for 3-4 years. And then obviously with the COVID year, you could have had the guy stay for longer than that.
Right.
But you don't get that often. And with this new team, very young, with Goon and Farrow Compton and Taj Gorville and
BJ Davis.
And then Miles Bird getting elevated into that starting role. Like, lot of new. Kimo Ferrari came over here. He hasn't played, but you have a lot of new on this team. And I was excited because I'm like, I want to see what this team's about. I want to see Dutch and this coaching staff, what they can mold this team into. And like, so far, dude, as early in the season as it is, and usually a Dutch team starts rolling around January and February, I am so impressed with what I've seen so far. They have looked like they've played basketball together
for a while,
for a long time.
But remember what we said also in the offseason, which was that, the names and the faces change, but you know what doesn't is the coaching tree of Steve Fisher, Brian Dutcher.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, think about that. Over the last 25 years, they've had 20 good teams, and there's been a lot of change. Yes, it's a new era. You did have players for 3 or 4 years. 0 of the 9 in the rotation in the national championship game are here, except Aguicaropi's on their staff.
Yeah.
And then last year, none of their starters are here. None of them, because Reese Waters is out, and he wasn't even starting in the second half of the year. Yet, they develop. Look at Magoon Gwath. He was developed during a redshirt year. Look at Jaden Ledee. He was developed during a redshirt year. Look at Malachi Flynn, developed during a redshirt year. I mean, Farrow Compton looks the part immediately. That's incredible. This guy's going to be one of the best players in the Mountain West as a true freshman. Right now for San Diego State is about this. A, it's maintaining a level of consistency because you're young. It's one thing to do it against Houston. What do you look like Wednesday night in Fresno?
They got a freshman in Goon. They have Farrow Compton. They have Miles Bird, who's a sophomore. They have Taj Gorville, who's a
BJ Davis.
BJ Davis,
sophomore.
Those 5 dudes right there are all getting significant playing time.
Yeah, and think about this. Now, it's like we talk about with the Padres, like, are you playing for 2025 or 2026? We're always like all in, all in, all in. And everyone's all in right now in the Aztecs because they just beat number 6 Houston. But if you allow yourself to dream for a moment about not just this year, where they can be really good, but they just got $1.15 million in this event that they didn't have a year ago.
That's really good.
If you can retain this roster, BJ Davis, 3rd year, Miles Bird, 4th year, Farrow Compton, 2nd year, and so on and so forth, you go from a really, really good team that has a chance right now to have postseason aspirations and maybe make a run to a preseason team that's going to be like among the top 10, 12 teams in America.
One thing that last year's team, and they did make the Sweet 16, but
exactly. And it worked out in the end.
It worked out in the end, and we were talking a little bit about this over the weekend. The one thing that last year's team didn't have that I think this year's team does have is that fire. Like, because
they're hunting, not being hunted.
Right.
Yeah.
And last year's team, we heard at points of the season, it was a little difficult.
It's like, just get me to the tournament.
It was a little difficult to get these guys up to play some nights because you're coming off a national championship game appearance. You do have a lot of returning starters. You had 4 guys returning from that Final Four national championship team. 3 of them starters.
Yeah, because you had Trammell, Butler, Ledee was in there.
Parrish.
Yeah, you had a lot coming back.
You lost
a lot, but you had a lot coming back.
Yeah. And so there was a little, I'm not gonna say complacency last year, but sometimes you make a deep run, you're on top of the world, you're just in the national championship game, kind of thinking to yourself, like, what else do we have to prove? Like, you know what I mean? And so last year's team, while it was still a very good team making a Sweet 16, that's nothing to hang your head about at all. Like, that's going up in the rafters. It's awesome. It's great.
Yeah, one of their top 5 seasons, maybe.
But we knew last year's team, it was a little difficult at times as far as the motivation factor goes for some games and some nights.
Sure.
This year's team, as new as it is, I don't feel like that at all. I feel like they are hungry. I feel like so far, like the effort level every single night has been top notch. While last year's team, there were maybe some nights where you're like, effort level might not be there. They pulled out with the win because that they're very talented. But this year's team so far, I just feel a different hunger level to them compared to last year's team.
I think it's fair. And I would say, like, but here's the thing. It's like you get up for the Vegas tournament and you get up for Gonzaga. And these last 4 games are like, I mean, they have the hardest strength of schedule in America. So that's like a factual statement, according to both Ken Pom and Ned. Now, what happens Wednesday night in Fresno with the young team? Are you playing at that same ability, competitive level? Like, are you able to do that? Can you put Vegas behind you and get ready for, you know how it is, road game of the conference. There's not going to be anyone there. It's Fresno. 2 years ago when they went to the national championship game, do you remember this game? It was February. We could look it up. I don't know what the final score was. They beat Fresno something like 43-41.
Oh my God, yes, I remember that.
I mean, it was Miles
really
Bird
bad.
today told the media,
Really?
I think he said we set basketball back 1,000 years.
Yeah.
That day.
Yeah.
6 weeks later, they were in the national championship. And that happened in Fresno with that team, with like Nathan Mensah and Aguka Robe.
Yeah.
So, like, nothing's a guarantee is my point,
Yeah.
especially on the road.
And look, you're going to have nights too when you're off.
Shots don't go in.
Yeah. And you're going to have some nights where you're just not feeling it.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that.
Long year.
But early on, this team compared to last year's team, early on, it just feels like a different energy. It's a different energy with this group of kids. And I'm like, look, the talent level on this team and how young they are, if they can keep this core together, like you said. I mean, BJ Davis, the jump he's made from last year to this year, playing 0 minutes last year and getting starting role now, and with Reese Waters out and putting up double-digit figures almost every single game and being an amazing scorer, like just Brian Dutcher and the job that his staff has done early on. You can't say enough good things about this team and about this coaching staff. And I just hope that they continue to build off this. And I hope also that just by beating Houston and beating Creighton and competing with Gonzaga and competing with Oregon, they didn't win those games. I hope they don't look at that and say like, oh, we're really good. Like they still have to
we fall out of bed in that spot.
Yeah, you still have to build here. And so, you know, winning the 2 games that they did, great. Losing the 2 games that they did, that's fine. Mm-hmm. And I bet you the coaching staff sitting there saying like, yeah, we would have loved to win those games, but it also gives us like a lot of, hey guys, you're still not good enough because you still didn't beat, you know, Gonzaga, and you didn't in Oregon, like who's undefeated right now. You know, you still have a lot of work to go. There's room for growth. Absolutely.
And I would say this, getting Reese Waters back, and the question I hear every single day or see every day on social media, what are they going to do with their lineup? What are they going to do? It's like getting Fernando Tatis Jr. back, and you already have someone that's playing a good right field. It all works itself out. You can't have too many good players. Like, there's no such thing. If you have 6 starters, that's a good thing. It's a lot better than having 4 starters. All right, so we'll give away San Diego State tickets in the 4 o'clock hour for Saturday against the University of San Diego. On the other side, San Diego State football, where does it go from here? Losing on senior night to Air Force, 3-9 in Sean Lewis's first year. We'll react coming up next on Jon and Jim. Hit us up with the talkback, Mike Jim. Just open
I'm on the radio.
Mike Jim. Hit us up on the talkback, Mike Jim. iHeartRadio app. No, just open up the free iHeart. You 60 tap that little microphone icon next to the play button. You go 30-second talkback. Jared Coleman-Jones, huge game. 3 threes against Houston on Saturday. First-year Aztec forward. He will join us at 3:30. Aaron Torres, great voice on college basketball and college sports in general, truthfully. He will join us coming up at 4 p.m. There's a ton to react to. I mean, again, Padres off-season winter meetings a week away. Aztecs basketball really playing brilliantly in the first month of the season. Then I was at Snapdragon Saturday. San Diego State wrapping up its first season under Sean Lewis. They lose their 6th consecutive game. They lose on senior night to Air Force at home, 31-20. End of the first year for Sean Lewis. Danny O'Neal's freshman season, right? Starting 11 of the 12 games. He missed one due to injury. Marcus Cooper, we know about. But they couldn't stop Air Force, right? I mean, Air Force wins their last 4 to wrap up their season. San Diego State loses its last 6 to wrap up its season. Signing day is Wednesday in terms of high school recruits for San Diego State and for FBS football. But where do you go from here? 3-9 off year one. I mean, we knew 3 weeks ago they weren't going to make a bowl game, right?
Mm-hmm.
We thought they were 3-7.
Yeah,
3 weeks ago. So we knew that 3 weeks ago. Does it change your opinion? Would your opinion be different right now if they beat Air Force, for example, on Saturday, 31-20, as opposed to losing the game, 31-20?
Well, it wouldn't have left you with the massive sour taste in your mouth that you're left with as a program, losing 6 straight to end your season and really kind of 3 straight blowouts. I know that it was 31-20, but like that game after Air Force went up, 31-14, it just, I think it was over. I'll say this about this year. It was, even though it was year one, and it's really hard to expect a program like this to all of a sudden be a 10-win program like that when you change literally everything about your program. Everything. The mantra, the coaching staff, all the players.
4-2-5 from 3-3-5, change offensive philosophy.
You have a true freshman as your starting QB. Like, that's a difficult ask. Yeah. But when you are saying things like, Aztec fast, and we expect to work harder than everybody, and you have this saying, Aztec fast, that the fans are thinking to themselves, oh, this team's going to put up. If we lose every game, 40-35, at least we can fall back on, well, that offense, something to build off of. No, they put up the same amount of points per game as they did last year. They didn't really show to me like this sizable improvement from last year's team to this year's team, in something for me to say, oh, okay, I see it. Now, it might take time because, it's, like I said, it's hard to fully just go from, a 4-win team, change the entire program like you did, and go win 10 games, compete for a Mountain West championship. But in year one, I was thoroughly disappointed from what I saw, because I was expecting to see something that I could grab onto, take it to next year, and be like, well, man, that offense really improved under Sean Lewis. It didn't.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because we talk about marketing. It's like, remember the Rockies owner was like, hey, we think we have a chance to be 500. This was before a season, like 2 years ago. And we laughed at that. Like, you're going into the season saying, like, best case scenario is winning 80 games. Like, that means you're going to suck. Like, nobody ever goes into a season, hope springs eternal. Like, they were never going to market it like Aztec rebuild.
Well, yeah,
like,
I know
Aztec eventually will be fast. So, like, okay, yeah, it's marketed one way, and they score the same amount of points, to your point, in 2024 from 2023. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, what are you supposed to do? Not market it, not sell it, not you know what I mean? There's no guarantee on the results. Like, the Padres can go into this year and say, we expect to get to the postseason. 2023, good example. We're going to build off the LCS and get to the postseason, and World Series or bust. I mean, we said that, and then they fall on their face. They won 80 games.
But also, when you bring in a new coach, like, yeah, it might take time to win 10 games and compete for a conference championship. I don't care if they lost every game this year, but if they put up 35 points per game, I would have looked at that and said,
They're building offense.
They're building something there with the
Mhm.
offense. Now, again, if you lost every game, that would have been really
Still,
bad.
that's the thing. Yeah.
But if they still have the same record, and record to me didn't, and I said this at the beginning of the year, I do not care about their record. I don't. If they went 6-6, that's great. But did they show improvement as a program to go into the future of what college football is, which is putting up a bunch of points? And you hired a guy who has preached from day one, and even before that, when Sean Lewis was announced and we were talking about it, he is an offensive first head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback means everything. And you go out there and your program on offense just fell flat on its face a lot of times. And now a lot to do with, some injuries and a lot of penalties, by the way, which is another thing that, in my opinion, is really disappointing, because I feel like when a team commits as many penalties as the Aztecs did for any team in sports and in NFL and college, that to me is a reflection on your head coach, because that is the discipline part that you need to have as a program and as a football team that at times they did not have this year. So I hope that in the offseason, like, they have now a full year, because last year it was very quick. Like, everything went very, very quick. Like, they had to hit the ground running from the jump. And now they have ample amount of time, hopefully, to make this program much better in year 2 than it was in year 1. And it starts, honestly, with up front on the offensive line, because if that offensive line is going to continue to play like they did this year, next year, that's a problem.
I mean, a couple of things real quick before we wrap the discussion. We'd love to hear from you. 70470, start it with team, or you can call us at 877-767-4760. Is that I'm not saying that Sean Lewis's tenure is going to look like Steve Fisher's tenure, and I'm not saying Sean Lewis is Steve Fisher. They're different sports. But Steve Fisher's first year in the Mountain West, they were 0-16. I'll give you Arizona State football. Last year, under their 35-year-old head coach, they were 3-9. Now they're in the Big 12 title game, picked to finish 16th this year. I'm just saying that, yeah, no question. Down year, disappointing. Sean Lewis said it. He said it as much in the final few weeks of the season. But just because you were down now doesn't guarantee that it can't turn.
Right.
And I look at, and again, the world's different. It's Steve Fisher 25 years ago didn't deal with the portal and NIL. And Arizona State doesn't necessarily equate to San Diego State. I'm just saying, just because you went 3-9 year 1 doesn't mean you're going 3-9 year 2. I'll use Sean Lewis's first stint at Kent with no resources, 2-10 to 7-6, +5 in wins. You go +4 or 5 in wins next year, that'll be seen as a huge step forward.
Well, they're going to have, San Diego State. In my opinion, I think they're going to have to make a pretty sizable jump next year, because if they don't, and it continues around the same, win 4 or 5 games, offense puts up maybe 24, 25 points a game. Like, yeah, you can say on paper that's an improvement. But the eye test, like we talked about the eye test with this Aztec basketball team. Eye test, boom, we see it with this Aztec basketball team. Eye test with this Aztec football team, not a lot changed from last year to this year. And I think a lot of fans were hoping that they could see something.
I agree with that.
That they could have changed.
100%. No, I think fans are upset. I mean, that's how fandom works. I think that's understandable and reasonable. Coming off a 3-9 season. All right, back to the Padres on the other side. Should they trade Luis Ariz? Is it as stupid as it sounds? We'll get into that on the other side. Plus, Jared Coleman-Jones, Aztec forward in his first year on the Mesa for his senior season, dropped 18 points against Houston on Saturday in Las Vegas. He'll join us at 3:30. Hour 2 of Jon and Jim is next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive. We'll start with San Diego State basketball. They finished third place in the Players Era tournament in Las Vegas, beating Creighton and Houston. They're ranked inside the top 25 for the first time of the year at number 24 ahead of UConn. Miles Bird was named the Mountain West Player of the Week. Farrell Compton named the Freshman of the Week. And NFL news of the day, Christian McCaffrey season likely over as he has a PCL sprain. He'll keep him out at least 6 weeks. And Jordan Mason has been placed on IR with a high ankle sprain. Yay. This update has been brought to you by Progressive.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home. Blake Snell to the Dodgers? What's AJ Preller's answer? Or will there be one? Plus, an upset win over number 6 Houston.
Aztecs will drive. Beautiful finger roll. Up and in, and a foul call. That is Farrell Compton.
We'll react to the game now. Time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Jared Coleman-Jones, Aztec forward, coming off a big game against number 6 Houston. He will join us at 3:30. Aaron Torres, college basketball, great voice from Fox Sports Radio. He will join us at 4 p.m. We have Aztec basketball tickets to give away in the 4 o'clock hour. I'm reading AJ Cassavell at this hour.
Oh,
he
dropped an article?
He dropped a Cassavell bomb.
Ooh.
It's not a bomb.
Cassie bomb?
Okay, so this is what the Padres and Preller, I don't like it, could pull off at the winter meetings. All right. He says their top priority this winter should be signing Roki Sasaki, but that has nothing to do with the winter meetings.
Nothing.
Okay, and we all agree. But here's what he says could be done by the end of next week's winter meeting. So between now and the conclusion of next Friday. Okay. Number 1, re-sign Jerks and Profar. This could be done, according to Cassavell, between now and 2 weeks from right now. Okay. What's that going to take?
Does he say what he thinks that the number is going to be, or like a guess?
He says the dollars and cents need to line up, which is so true.
Okay.
So true. Second, between now and the end of the winter meeting, settle the shortstop situation. Okay. I don't fully know what that means. Are we going to determine where Xander Bogaerts is going to be playing this winter and not going to tell him like the first day of spring training? Maybe that's what that means.
Okay.
So we can further that conversation.
Yeah, shortstop. Yeah.
And then number 3, it's a little generic. Make a trade.
Oh, okay.
So between now and the end of the winter meetings, AJ Preller could make a trade. It was a few years ago. Snell, Darvish, same day.
That was like 2021.
Musgrove.
But that was after the winter meetings.
Well, there's also been, there's been some big offseason
Soto
trades still
was
cease.
At the end of the winter meetings last year, if I'm not mistaken.
It was after the winter meetings.
Was it after?
I thought, because didn't it technically occur afterwards? We talked about all winter meetings.
That's what I said. Yeah, I think it happened right after the winter meetings.
After.
Okay. But didn't Preller speak at the winter meetings about it?
Yeah, he did.
So that happened.
We might have to. But he didn't trade him during the winter meetings, did he? Remember, we waited like 48 hours for it to happen. The Yankees were like, we'll get back to you. We really don't want to give up Michael King, right?
Well, Michael King,
It was like a 1 or 2
can't give up
delay.
Michael King. Oh, my God.
So that's kind of where we are in terms of where the Padres are, which is, again, are they pulling a rabbit out of their hat? Are they pulling something out of Preller's pants, as Mike Shildt talked about earlier?
Pulling out of his pants. How you doing?
Are they trading Luis Ariz? Speaking
Down
of
his pants.
Down his pants, up his sleeves.
Both of his sleeves.
In his pockets.
I mean, MLB Trade Rumors is not the first to report that there's reasons that you would trade Luis Ariz. He's going to make a lot of money. He hits, but he doesn't get on base at a crazy clip. Are you going to pay him $15 million a year? What can you get back for him?
So what AJ said there, I agree with, because re-signing Profar and maybe any other year, you're like, thanks, but no thanks, because what you're going to be asking for is probably a little too much than what we're willing to give you. Like, we gave you $1 million last year, and you outperformed that by leaps and bounds.
Sure.
And we love you for what you did here. Like, we love you in this clubhouse, and you're a great teammate and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But for like $17-18 million a year, I don't know about that. The thing is, though, you look at the free agent outfielders this year, other than Juan Soto, take him out of the equation.
Yeah.
It's awful. There's nothing there that I'm like, yeah, that could line up.
But that's what we said last year about Profar.
Okay.
Now you're
So
asking for can you go find that player to then contribute? Maybe not at that
Can
level.
lightning in a bottle strike twice?
Right. That's basically the question.
Usually doesn't.
So just bring them back, even if.
No, I agree.
You reach for a number and.
Well, I say because of how bad the outfield free agent list is, take away Juan Soto and Teoscar Hernandez from the group.
Right.
Bringing back Profar makes a lot of sense because it's either Profar or like who else,
No, that's a good point. But to your point from 1 minute ago, it's like, at what cost?
The dollars and cents have to match up, John.
So, I mean, so give me I'll do it at X, but I want it Y. Is my point. I'll do a 2-year 22, but I won't do a 3-35. What are we talking about? Because once you start paying him 10, 12, 14 a year, he has to produce.
I think if you're Profar, would you say he's looking like if someone offered him a 3-year, $48 million deal?
Enjoy your time in Miami.
Okay, 16 a year?
Yeah, no. Jurickson Profar's career in terms of productivity is last year.
So what do you think he should get? What do you think fair market value is?
I think he asked for 3 for 30. He'll probably ask for more than that. I think
$10 million a year.
I think the
after
best
that season.
Well, I think it's not the 10 per year from Jurickson. It's the 30 guaranteed. Would I prefer 30 for 3 or 25 for 2? I'll take the 30 because I'm now guaranteeing he could come to the end of a 2-year deal and be out of baseball. He'll be in his mid 30s. He could be on 1-year prove it deals. He could be getting minor league invites to spring training 3 years from now. So, I mean, I think you're asking for 3 years, $30 million. And if I'm the Padres, do I want to commit myself for the next 3 seasons?
What's the highest that you would go?
I probably want to give him a 2-year deal, 10, 11 a year. But he probably is worth more than that based on the season he just had.
If you said right now 3 for 35, would you do it?
70470 start with team.
It's 3 for 35 or he walks.
3 for 35. And now you've taken away the possibility of what? They don't even they're already at the luxury threshold. So they're going to go add 12 or 13 a year. I don't know. I mean, I could be convinced either way. I could absolutely be convinced to let him walk.
He is such a tricky case because
we're doing this for VAR.
Yeah. Shout out Divine Gospel.
Right.
I'm doing it for $1 million for VAR, but other than that, I'm not. I'm not. It's like a little bit like Blake Snell, and just hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Blake Snell, obviously.
You think Profar is going to win the Cy Young?
No.
Okay.
But with Blake Snell, you want him on your team at a certain price.
Yeah, not what the Dodgers just paid, by the way. But if you have unlimited money, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And he can give you some really good performances.
Mm-hmm.
Jurickson Profar, you want on your team at a certain price. He can give you some really good performances. And the tricky part about this is if he does not put up the numbers he did this past year, guess what? That contract, awful. If he puts up his career averages, that contract, awful. And that's where the tricky part comes in. Are you re-signing him because you believe that he can put up those years? If you do believe that, and okay, fine, I'll believe it when I see it. But the likelihood of him doing that for the however many years that you sign him for, say you sign him for a 3-year deal, you're expecting him at least 2 of those seasons to put up comparable years to this past season, and we're done that in his career.
Listen to this. In his career, he's an 8-WAR player. 4 of it. Why would I trust? I'm wrong. Is it go prove it? That's the problem with being somebody. It's almost like to your point. Profar might need to do this again. Snell came off of Cy Young and had to do it again to get paid.
Yeah,
it's almost like Profar just did this. Do it for 1 more year and go get your $48 million.
Yeah,
but I wonder if he has to do it again. He'll be 32 when the season starts. So if he's on to a 3-year deal, it's ages 32, 33, 34. You're telling me those seasons are going to be better than what he just did? No, they're unlikely to be better. Now, can he put up another good year in the big leagues? Of course he can. Is he beneficial for that clubhouse? Absolutely. But at what cost? And a 3-year deal, $35 million for a team that has payroll constraints?
Yeah,
I don't know.
All I know is that the amount of creativity that AJ Preller is going to have this offseason, I think this is going to be his toughest offseason. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, if you want to call it tough, like, okay, but he had the biggest trade chip on the market, and look what he got back for it. He doesn't have that this offseason. And as you heard, Shildt, before he was, after he talked about what's in Preller's pants, say like he's going to work under the constraints or whatever the terminology was that he said, parameters that he has this offseason and put together a winning team. Well, the word parameters means there's a limit here. There's a budget. Like he can't go out and be like, hey, can we maybe sign this guy to a $100 million deal? Like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to be proven wrong. I just don't see it happening. That's why I always thought it was idiotic and stupid to even think that Blake Snell was going to return here. Like, you remember a couple weeks about, like, that was a conversation that was had. I'm like, you guys are out of your mind. That's not happening. If they sign Profar to like a 3-year, $35 or $40 million deal, that's probably the biggest contract they're going to have this entire offseason. If they don't re-sign Arise and they don't give Jackson Merrill a contract extension after his rookie year and they don't re-sign Michael King, it could be Jerks and Profar as their big splash in free agency.
Oh, absolutely. No, it absolutely could. And again, to your point, okay, there's not a lot of great options in the outfield, and he is a good option. So maybe it's like, again, is it perfect? Is it a match made in heaven, reaching a little bit? Maybe not. But then again, you got the bargain last year. So maybe he's worth the full price this year. I don't like the idea of tying him up for 3 years.
And just real quick here. This move that they made on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the big move.
Let me bring this up. Who was the guy they signed? What's his name?
I have no idea.
I know.
Could tell me any name in the world, I would never confirm it.
Well, I want to get this right.
Oh, that's a first.
You son of a. Hold on. It's a lot from the MLB trade rumors here. I don't know the dude's name off the top of my head.
Down his pants.
Here we go. Hold on. Oscar Gonzalez to a minor league deal.
Yeah.
That on Thanksgiving kind of scared me a little bit. You know why? Because I feel like that might be a precursor of what's to come. Signing guys on the cheap, minor league deals, giving them opportunities in big league camp, see if they stick, because they can't go out and spend big money. Or at least spend half money or whatever it is. I don't know.
Maybe, but there's always going to be 10 or 12 guys on minor league deals.
I will bet you right now that Oscar Gonzalez
plays in the big leagues next year.
Gets at bats with the Padres in the big leagues next year.
Yeah, but I'll put his over under on ABs at 6.5.
Way over.
Oscar Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Maybe he's your next Profar. Who needs Profar if you have Oscar Gonzalez?
Well, if that's your next Profar, then you got problems. Well, I mean,
not really. If he has an 850 OPS.
If you're thinking
that's the next Profar, right?
That's the next Profar, you got some problems.
All right. On the other side, we're going to hear from Dan Hurley. All right. Back-to-back national championship game winning coach. Dan Hurley is whining about something. We'll explain on the other side. Jared Coleman-Jones, Aztec forward, will join us later this hour. We have Aztec basketball tickets to give away. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. Keep up with San Diego Sports 760 anytime, anywhere. Whether you're stepping out of your car, settling in at home, just ask your Google or Alexa smart speaker to play AM 760 or stream it live through the iHeartRadio app. It's never been easier to stay connected with your favorite shows like this one. San Diego Sports 760 goes where you go. I'll tell you what, in raising a child, Jones.
Are you talking about me?
Well, you too.
Yeah.
In raising a child, one thing that I don't think is a good life lesson is to be like, you know what, if something doesn't go well, just figure out another way to do it.
Complain
Just complain about it. Hey, Jones, oh, you know what, soccer practice wasn't fun. I didn't score a goal. And, just stop doing it.
I'm going to stop playing soccer.
Or go about it until you get it right. You're going to figure it out. Even if you have to cheat to do it, cheat the system, figure it out.
If something in your life becomes difficult,
just don't do it.
Don't do it and just do something else.
Find an easier path.
Yeah.
So UConn has won back-to-back national championships to its credit with historical postseason runs, double-digit win after double-digit win. Remarkable success. Dan Hurley deserves a lot of credit. He's had great players that are now in the NBA, like Adama Sanogo and Donovan Clingan and whomever the guard was, Hawkins from 2 years ago, and it goes on and on and on.
It's really good in the NBA right now with the Hornets. Or no, the Pelicans, sorry.
Same thing. At one point, right? Wasn't Charlotte in New Orleans at one point?
They were, yeah.
And vice versa. But so they're number 2 in the AP poll heading into last week, right? It's UConn. And they go to Maui, the Maui Invitational, and they get thumped.
San Diego State's been to Maui multiple times.
4 or 5. You're right.
Yeah.
So UConn goes to Maui, and they just lose and lose and lose in close games. And Dan Hurley in each and every game is crying about it. After the first game, he says his technical overtime didn't cost his team the game. The refs' calls previously cost his team the game.
Right.
That's kind of Dan Hurley in a nutshell. Well, he comes back to Storrs, Connecticut after going 0-3 in Maui and then has this to say to the media.
Maybe that I'm not doing another 3-game MTE again. And that moving forward, we will only play home and homes and single game events. In big time arenas. I don't think I'll ever do a 3-game MTE again, unless I'm not coaching here at some point somewhere else. There's zero chance I'll do that again.
Zero chance. His team goes 0-3, and that's just not good enough. They went 0-3. Other teams won. His didn't. So as opposed to saying, you know what, maybe I could coach better, maybe we could play better, not blame the tournament. No, it's, I'm just not going to do it. I'll figure out another way to do it because that didn't work out well for me.
He becomes more unlikable by the day. And it's so frustrating because he does have multiple national championships under his belt. And he's a great coach. And he put together some of the most dominant NCAA runs, in the history of the sport. But man, does he come off as a pompous clown. He irritates me so much, and it sucks because he's a good coach. I wish he wasn't a good coach because then it would be easier to dislike him and hate him and want him to be run out of UConn and never coach again. Man, you are such a you're just an a-hole, dude. That's what you are. You're just an a-hole.
And it's worked out really well. Has anyone seen a compilation of his?
Oh, yeah, it's a joke.
His back and forth with the officials in
Cry
Maui.
me a river, dude.
I mean, it's minutes of highlights or lowlights of him basically acting like a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to be upset over a call. Every coach has been upset over a call. How could you be upset over 20 calls in 3 consecutive games?
You know what it kind of reminds me of a little bit, just thinking about it? So I'm sure UConn fans, because of the national championships that they have won under Dan Hurley, think Dan Hurley is a great head coach. And they're like, we love Dan Hurley. We love the guy. Everybody else around the country thinks he's a total douche, a-hole, but he wins. It's like Draymond Green. If you're a Warriors fan, you like Draymond Green a lot because they win a lot. But to everybody else, he's a giant a-hole because he cries a lot and he gets ejected from games and he does these stupid things in the game. But if you're a Warriors fan, back in the day, maybe not right now so much because it's like, dude, come on, bro. But back in the day, you're like, if you're a Warriors fan, you love Draymond Green because you win a lot. You can deal with the antics. You can deal with him being a douche.
Right.
And that's the thing with Dan Hurley. If you're a UConn fan, you'll deal with that because you win. But everyone else hates you and everyone else thinks you're a loser.
and I don't think Maui's going to invite him back anyways with that jab of, oh, we're only going to play in big time arenas.
Yeah, like, dude, there's a certain charm to Maui. By the way, Maui might get just phased out because of things like Players Era.
Yeah.
Players Era has money. Maui's not offering it. It is a different world. Maybe you do have to adapt or die, but Maui shouldn't have to adapt because UConn went 0-3. That's not Maui's fault. It's UConn's fault. You don't like it, play better.
Well, I guess it's a good thing he didn't go to the Lakers. He would have been able to haggle. Like,
Oh,
yeah, we decided that we don't want to play Memphis anymore, so we're not going to do that, and we're only going to play home games because we're
not going to go to
to
6-game road trips anymore out east. When Staples is unavailable, we're going to actually play games at the new stadium in Inglewood.
Brooklyn is a far trip. We're not going to take it anymore.
All right, on the other side, we're actually going to get to Is That Good, guys, next, because Jared Coleman-Jones will join us at 3:45. So we'll get to Is That Good, the best and worst of the sports weekend. On the other side, Aaron Torres will join us at 4. We have Aztec basketball tickets to give away. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. We'll start with the Aztecs. They are ranked inside the top 25 AP polls for the first time this year after their win over Houston over the past weekend. what was it, Saturday? Yes. There are 24 in the AP poll. Miles Byrd named Mountain West Player of the Week. Pharaoh Compton named Freshman of the Week. NFL News of the Day. Christian McCaffrey, his season's likely over. He's been placed on IR with a PCL sprain that will keep him out at least 6 weeks. And Jordan Mason has been placed on IR as well with a high ankle sprain. And Monday Night Football tonight, as the Jameis Winstons take on the Bo Nixes in Cleveland. The slow roasted Cantina chicken menu is here to stay with ingredients like purple cabbage and freshly prepared pico de gallo. Try it today at a participating U.S. Taco Bell location while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
Saturday night, he will join us in 15 minutes. Aaron Torres, great college basketball voice as well, will join us coming up at 4 p.m. Now, we typically do on Mondays, Is That Good? The best and worst of the sports weekend. So let's do it on a Monday. Like that.
Is that good?
Wilcox, snapper, Huber, holder, from 29 yards away. Oh, he missed it badly. Kick on the way. Boswell. That's a winner.
The good and bad from the sports weekend.
I think what you meant is we usually do it at 3:45 on Mondays.
No, I didn't. I just meant we typically do it.
We always do it on Mondays.
Nah, there's
at
been some we've
3:45.
skipped.
He's been gone a while. He forgot.
We've skipped some.
Now we're doing it at 3:30 today.
Yeah.
We skipped a couple.
We've skipped a few.
If there's been
I don't know why. If there's been something real.
Brent's going to like this one. The Bears, they fired Matt Eberflus over the weekend. First time in the history of the franchise that they fired their head coach
in season, right?
Oh, my goodness.
First time since George Halas left the team to go fight in World War II.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't see what the big deal was. So you can't get a playoff to potentially tie or win a game. They tried. They were close. They almost beat the Lions. The Lions are good.
Yeah.
We almost beat a bunch of teams. It's the fourth time this year that we've lost in the last play of the game.
They should extend them.
Yeah.
But look how close they are to winning.
If the Bears don't hang 40 on the Niners next weekend, I would be so disappointed.
Do the Niners? Okay, thank you. Good segue. The Niners suck. I watched this game last night expecting to see something entertaining, and they were dominated. I kind of felt bad for Christian McCaffrey for a moment when he it just was kind of sad. It was like watching the end of like a dominant career. I mean, an Achilles injury, you just go down.
It wasn't Achilles. It was a
whatever, even injury. Worse. It was the worst injury in football history. So I don't know if we'll ever see Christian McCaffrey again. I don't know if we'll ever see the Niners again.
They're just going to not be a franchise anymore.
Are they playing the Bears?
Yeah.
We'll see them again, but the Niners suck. Is that good?
No, it's not good. Are you kidding me?
I mean, dude.
I'm in full tank mode, by the way.
I know you're all about like go 5 and 12 and
full
get the
tank mode.
Pick and...
Full tank mode. I need a top 10 pick. I need a last place schedule next year.
What are you doing with that top 10 pick?
What do you need the top 10 for? Just draft the last dude in the draft again.
Right.
Stupid team. It's all right.
It's okay.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
They could win out.
Speaking of Christian McCaffrey, I saw a tweet today that was pretty funny because the Madden curse is a real thing.
Is he on the cover?
He's not only on the cover of Madden this past year. They had 2 different versions of the cover, and someone put 2 injuries for 2 covers.
Oh my gosh!
Chris McCaffrey done for the season. The Madden curse is a real thing. Brent, is that good?
No, it's not good. Are you kidding me?
If I'm Saquon Barkley right now,
yeah,
or Josh Allen, or anybody else, I'm like, don't contact me.
No,
I am not going on that stupid cover. Like, put old people that are retired on that cover. Don't put any.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers is probably on the phone to EA Sports right now.
Yeah, put Eberflus on that cover.
Gosh.
Whoever owns the Bears.
They would want Eberflus for the cover of 2025, but he won't be there until 2026.
I like that, man. Magoon Guath leads the nation in blocks per game. He has had 5 blocks in 3 games against Gonzaga, Oregon, and Houston. He's a freshman. He's played 6 college games. Is that good?
It is good.
Leads the nation in blocks.
He is one of the best rim protectors already.
Yeah.
And it's like he's so raw. He has so much room to grow and improve. Sure. Just how much better you think he's going to get.
I think he's going to be blocking 10 shots per game next year from 5 to 10. That would be a huge jump.
And then put a little bit more meat on those bones. Get him
20 blocks.
Yeah, get him eating more at Broken Yoke or at San Diego State.
Sure.
Gain about 20 more pounds. There we go. It's a lot of weight, though.
No, I mean, he's been really impressive.
Very impressive. Very
For,
impressive.
again,
Defensively.
games.
And then hitting the big-time free throw.
He's hit some shots. Against Creighton, he had basically a buzzer beater at the end of the first half against Creighton, a little bit of a runner. He's been impressive.
The free throw was in overtime?
He had two two-shot attempts in overtime and was 1 of 2 in both, which was critically important.
Yeah.
When you're a 7-foot freshman, it's easy to go 0 in that spot. If you do, you lose potentially. And he did well enough.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Ryan Day.
Boy. Ryan Day. You think you had anyone listening?
Yeah.
Everything's better than what's going on at Ohio State.
Everybody had a better weekend than
By and
Ryan
large.
Day. Ohio State loses to Michigan as a 20-point favorite at home in a game that they could not lose. Ohio State,
Not to get to the Big Ten championship.
You've lost 3 years in a row to Michigan.
Coming in.
Yeah. And this is the year you put it all together.
Right, no doubt.
You have the highest payroll in all of college football.
$20 million.
Your team has unlimited resources. You're like the Dodgers of college football. How many 5-star recruits do they have on that team? Like 20?
I'm sure.
Michigan is missing, I think, 2 or 3 of their best players. They have a walk-on quarterback that threw for 60 yards in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Dude missed a wide-open tight end in the end zone in the fourth quarter. I could have made that pass. And he gets intercepted at the 1.
Yeah.
Is that good?
It is good! Yeah, because I hate Ohio State.
Man, Ryan Day, dude. How do you recover from this, John?
No, you don't. Because did you hear he had a conversation before the game where it was like really sad to hear. He's like, I know what it means to lose to Michigan, and it's like it's impacted my mental health and other than the death of either my mother or father, this is the worst experience of my life.
His father, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I think if you're Ohio State, you either win the national championship or you move on. Would be my guess.
I would guess that
we felt what it's like to not win this game, and it's bad. It's one of the worst things that's happened to me in my life. Quite honestly, other than losing my father and a few other things, it's quite honestly for my family the worst thing that's happened.
Now you gotta deal with that for
so we can never have that happen.
And if he gets fired, which he probably will, then win the national championship, he's gonna have to live with that for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I don't know. But what are you supposed to do? Like, hey, run it back and then we play at Michigan next year?
There are diehard Ohio State fans that are wishing for the team to lose in the opener of the college football playoff.
So he's out.
Just so they fire
How
Ryan
about this?
Day.
1-4. He's 1-4 against Michigan, 44-1 against the rest of the Big Ten.
That's a lot like me and my Bears-Packers thing, though. A lot of
like
Ohio State fans, that's the one game that matters.
It is.
You can win all of those games. If you lose to Michigan, then the season's ruined.
Get to your final one because I want to talk about something else with that game.
Which game? Ohio State?
Yeah, Michigan, yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Well, don't you have one more?
I don't really care.
Why not?
I mean, because we lost the music and we're talking about it. We can talk about Ohio State, Michigan.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the quote-unquote planting of the flag at midfield from Michigan?
This is the great rivalry in American sports. Like, happens in this thing. If you've watched the history of this thing, Woody Hayes punched a player, didn't he? So, the history of Michigan, Ohio State, it's not like what we saw play out with pepper spray and the planting of the flag and the altercation. That's not the worst of the rivalry.
No.
Like, if you've watched this thing play out over the last 100 years, it's why it's the greatest rivalry. Like, it almost amplifies why Michigan, Ohio State is different than name another series. I mean, it's just different. It's special. And it hurts to your core. And now you wait 365 days on the other side. I don't have an issue with what I saw on TV. To me, it only amplified what that game means.
Zero problem with it. I thought Gus Johnson embarrassed himself on that broadcast, the way that game ended, with him saying they didn't have to cheat this time
to win. And Ryan Day was just watching this unfold with his jaw wide open. That was weird.
And then calling out Michigan for planting the flag. Good on Joel Klatt for kind of saying, Gus, this is what happens. This is a rivalry.
This is the biggest rivalry in sports.
This isn't the first time a team's gone to the center of the field with their flag.
How about the Michigan player, and I forget who it was afterwards,
Sawyer?
they need to learn how to lose.
Oh,
Which
the running
was
back.
also-
Who was the running back? I don't know. But Ryan Day embarrassed himself not only during that game, but even more so after the game, standing
He
there.
just like had
There's
no answer.
There's a video of Ryan Day that's going to live with him and haunt him forever once he gets fired. It's him after the brawl or during the brawl. And he's standing there with like his eyes are glazed. A player runs by and you see him mouth, "What happened?" And he just looks around and he gets no response.
He's just like dumbfounded.
That's the final image of Ryan Day at Ohio State. And it's embarrassing that game transpired the way it did.
Here's my guess.
For Ohio State.
Here's my legitimate guess. I think he'll be back. I think Ohio State still has a. Maybe the hangover from this is so crazy.
How do you sell that, John?
Well, it's easy because they're 3 games away from being national champions.
But nobody cares.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
If you don't win a national championship, no one cares.
They do.
If they
they're
don't,
3 games away from winning a national
but
championship,
you said
and they're loaded.
But you say even if they don't, you think he should come back?
Well, no, I think 2 things. I think they've got a very good chance to get to a national championship game. They're Ohio State. They had a really good year. They're one of the best teams in America, even with what happened to Michigan. So I think if you get to a national championship game, you're not firing them. And obviously, if you win a national championship game, you're not going to fire them. And the truth is, their first playoff game they'll be favored in. So like they'll be on their path. If they win the national championship, which again, easier said than done, he'll get like an extension out of this. Yeah, you lost to Michigan in the regular season, but I mean, you won the national at the end of the day, you're trying to win national championships. They still can.
I think there's no recovering from this
because you think they'll be shell shocked and they're going to lose again in this bad fashion.
Like I said at the beginning of the year for the 49ers, there's no recovering from that Super Bowl loss and then just thinking that they can turn it around the next year after how devastating that was and be right back in the game. That's how I feel about Ohio State. You do not lose that game in that fashion. Everything was in your favor, dude. You are a 20-point favorite. You're at home. You're facing a walk-on QB for Michigan who threw for 60 yards. You have the highest payroll in all of college football. 5 stars everywhere. And you lose that game at home 13-10. And in the way that you lost that game, it wasn't like they lost that game 35-34. Still would have been bad. But you couldn't move the ball on them.
Are they going to do better?
Missing field goals, interceptions.
And that's not really on him. Are they going to do better than a guy that's 66-10?
I think that if they can move on from Urban Meyer and go right into this dude who Jim Harbaugh claimed, probably right now, born on third base, thought he hit a triple. They can move on because they're the Ohio State. They can put in a new coach and still get the same resources that Ryan Day is getting today.
Same resources.
It's not like Ryan Day has, if he leaves and he's fired, all the money, all the resources, all the boosters are just going to just vanish because, oh my God, Ryan Day is gone. No, they'll get someone else in there and everyone will be energized because it's not Ryan Day. And they will give maybe even more resources to the new head coach to go out and get who they want. Do you think who's the head coach of Michigan?
Sharon Moore.
Sharon Moore. Do you think that Sharon Moore is a big name in college football?
Well, he was after what he did last year because Harbaugh was suspended a lot and they won some huge games with him as the acting head coach.
Would you expect him to go out? And a lot of it didn't have to do with him.
Right. You're saying
and
that
get the number 1 ranked quarterback in the nation,
right. He
5-star.
did it with resources because they had $10 million.
Yeah, he didn't do it because he's a great recruiter.
Right.
He did it because of the amount of resources he has now at the program. Same thing with Ohio State. You can get someone else in there, get the same resources, get a top 5 recruiting class, get transfers everywhere, pay $10 million for a quarterback, and it's fine.
I think they should hire Sharon Moore as their next head coach at Ohio State.
Well, he is their daddy now.
There's no doubt about it. All right. On the other side, Jared Coleman-Jones is now going to join us at 4:30. Okay, because they're still in film. So Jared Coleman-Jones is going to join us at 4:30. We'll talk to Aaron Torres on college basketball coming up at 4 p.m. And on the other side, we had more sound to get to, didn't we? We had Ryan Day's sound, didn't we? We should have used it. Or was that from last week?
That was from last week.
That was what we just played. That's what we just played. All right. Further reaction. Plus, again,
you think I just had that standing by just in case?
Okay. I didn't know how you had that. I don't know. Aaron Torres at 4 p.m. Jared Coleman-Jones at 4:30. It's Jon and Jim. All right, guys, it is Jon and Jim for our friends over at Hamul Casino. It is a Monday, and you can join them every Monday in December for a chance to win luxury handbags. Okay, this is right up Aaron's alley.
And Kristen's, yeah.
From top brands, we're talking about Louis Vuitton and Burberry and more. Versace. 10 winners every hour, 7, 8, 9 p.m. And Onyx players receiving an extra $100 cash bonus, plus one lucky winner each hour gets the opportunity to pick a purse packed with cash up to $25,000, and you get to keep the purse. That's every Monday, including tonight at Hamul.
And while you're winning purses and opportunities to win $25,000, you can also watch some great sporting events at Hamul Casino, at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, at Loft 94, or their poker rooms, UFC 310, this Saturday at 7 p.m. Make sure to check that out. And also, you can join them every Thursday for drawings with a guaranteed $30,000 cash prizes. Earn entries daily for your chance to win. Plus, you can stay for the excitement of the Latin night afterwards. It's a great time out.
And join them for New Year's Eve, holographic New Year party. Celebrate in style. We'll kick off the festivities with $20 free play for all at noon. Don't miss a moment of the action. Celebrate New Year's Eve at Hamul Casino.
Yeah, get to Hamul Casino today. It's great for food. It's a great time to watch a sporting event. And it's also a great place to win some big-time money and some purses as well. Get to Hamul Casino today. It's fun above all else.
Bob Nightingale has chimed in on Rookie Society.
Who did he? No, what person did he copy this?
Well, he told it to Dodgers Nation.
Oh,
okay. So of course, Bob Nightingale with Dodger Nation's Doug McCain. He says if he doesn't sign with the Dodgers, I think he goes to the Padres, which is a disaster that Bob Nightingale is saying this.
Oh, gosh.
So that probably means he goes to the Dodgers or he goes to like the Red Sox. But Bob Nightingale told Doug McCain that I think if he doesn't sign with the Dodgers, he'll go to the Padres. Padres are very hopeful, cautiously optimistic. I can't see him going anywhere else. Dodgers and Padres, the front runners, according to Bob Nightingale, to Dodgers Nation's Doug McCain. Okay, it's like telling Passan. He says that I think if it's not the Dodgers, I think it's the Padres. And these are Nightingale's words. Padres are very hopeful and cautiously optimistic. Is he actually getting that from someone, or is he just saying that? The Padres are hopeful and cautiously optimistic they're landing Roki Sasaki? I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard that either.
That's news.
It is some breaking news there, John.
That they're cautiously optimistic that they're going to end up with Roki Sasaki.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, AJ Preller in a week will be asked to comment on Sasaki.
I mean, Shildt says he has something in his pants.
True.
So,
is it Roki Sasaki?
Is Roki Sasaki in Preller's pants right now?
That'd be huge.
Just whips him out. I got Roki Sasaki for you everywhere. Yeah, you get Roki Sasaki, and you get Roki Sasaki.
Gosh.
Roki Sasaki.
Now,
down his pants.
Oh, that is weird.
Pause.
They go on to write, whoever wrote this article, that Sasaki is the best bargain in baseball. Yeah, because you don't have to pay him.
Yeah,
essentially.
no S, bro.
And the signing period opens January 15th. And the Dodgers will be among the teams with the least amount of money in their international pool. If that matters, I don't think it does.
Doesn't matter.
I agree.
Based on the money and the money they're technically not paying him yet, isn't Ohtani the best bargain in baseball?
$2 million per year.
Basically, yeah. Good point.
His
yeah,
CBT number is very, very high.
Yep.
Yeah, good point, Brent. Yeah, I nothing changes for me.
Even though they're cautiously optimistic and hopeful.
Well, they've been cautiously optimistic and hopeful about a lot of things in recent memory.
Right.
And they were cautiously optimistic and hopeful about landing Shohei Ohtani back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
It just further proves the point to me that Roki Sasaki is their number one priority and target this offseason. Like that's what I get from that is they are going to do everything in their power to land this guy. And I think that's a great thing. I think that if they weren't like all in on Roki Sasaki, that would be a problem for me. But it sounds like they are. I don't know if they're going to land him. I'm not going to take what Bob Nightingale says and be like, oh my God, the Padres are going to sign Roki Sasaki. But they need to be all in on this guy. And this needs to be priority one. It sounds like it is. Hearing from AJ Casval today, seeing that from Bob Nightingale. This dude is priority number one for the Padres, as he should be. And I joked on Twitter, like, I need the Padres to sign Roki Sasaki like I need air to breathe. That's how badly this team needs to sign.
Yeah, they need him.
They need to sign him badly.
Well, here's the issue. Like, yeah, you might want to go to prom with someone.
Yeah,
you might pull out all the stops, right? The greatest, however you ask someone to prom today. You know what I mean? Like, it's a TikTok, it's flowers, it's your friends, it's everything. Yep. You can do everything right, so to speak, but she needs to want to go to prom with you. And when you have options, which is Sasaki, which might be your prom date, maybe that's a bad analogy. I don't know if
it's almost like it's like a dating app, right?
Little bit. Like he's the one doing the swiping on them. Like he looks at the picture of the Padres. Are they appealing? Honestly, in their current state, with their payroll coming off the season they're coming off, with their roster, how appealing is it to him? Yeah, of course they want to sign him, but the other 29 teams do too.
And then if, he does decide to swipe on the Padres and swipe on the Dodgers and the Red Sox, and he has these teams in his inbox.
Yeah.
Then
how do the dates go?
How do the dates go? 1 and 2, which of those teams stand out the most? And what team stands out the most to Roki Sasaki?
You heard Mike Shildt.
Well, if Preller whips out what he's got in his pants, and maybe that's the thing that lands Roki Sasaki. Yeah,
that's
we are using a dating app as an analogy here.
How do the Padres land you?
Well, let me
tell you a story about
his pants.
Aaron Torres is a great voice on college basketball. He will join us on the other side. What does he make of San Diego State winning 2 of 3 in Vegas, including beating number 6 Houston? He'll join us coming up next. Plus, Jared Coleman-Jones will join us in the 4 o'clock hour. Plus, we'll give away Aztec tickets during Trainwreck Radio at 4:45 in less than an hour from now. We are here until 6 p.m. Hour 3 of Jon and Jim. That'll come your way next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Taco Bell. We'll start with San Diego State basketball After beating Houston on Saturday night, Aztecs have moved inside the top 25 for the first time this year at number 24. Next up, the Aztecs will take on Fresno State on Wednesday night. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Miles Byrd was named the Mountain West Player of the Week. Farrell Compton named Freshman of the Week. And NFL news of the day, Christian McCaffrey's season is likely over as he has a PCL sprain. He's been placed on IR. Jordan Mason has also been placed on IR for the Niners with a high ankle sprain. The Slow Roasted Cantina Chicken menu is here to stay with ingredients like purple cabbage and freshly prepared pico de gallo. Try it today at a participating U.S. Taco Bell location while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home. Blake Snell to the Dodgers? What's AJ Preller's answer? Or will there be one? Plus, an upset win over number 6 Houston.
Aztecs will drive. Beautiful finger roll. Up and in, and a foul call. That is Farrell Compton.
We'll react to the game now. Time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of Jon and Jim. We're here until 6. We'll catch up with Aztec forward Jared Coleman-Jones, 16 points against Houston in that big win for the Aztecs in Vegas on Saturday. And let's talk some college hoops with Aaron Torres. He is a great voice on all things college basketball, Fox Sports Radio's own. Aaron Torres back with us here on Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So, first of all, Aaron, we appreciate it. I'm going to ask this question to you because I'm curious to get your thoughts because you're such a big fan of the sport. So what are you taking? Like, are you taking the coach or are you taking the roster, so to speak? Like, if you could just have one, like you're assured of the coach. Like at San Diego State, it's been Steve Fisher, Brian Dutcher for 25 plus years. Names have changed, but they've continued winning. Like, are you taking coach over roster or are you taking roster over coach?
It's a great question. Yeah, I wasn't prepared for the hard hitter. Like,
I know.
right out of the gate.
I know.
You'd be like, oh, San Diego State, they're awesome, right? Tell me more about that. So it's a good question. I would say this. There is still a baseline level of talent that you need to win at the highest level to, really compete, number 1 seeds, national championships, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also say that in general, like, I would take the coach because, I mean, listen, you don't have to, like, really think too hard on this. I mean, look at John Calipari's situation. He was at Kentucky, has all this talent. The last couple of years, it doesn't work. He goes to Arkansas. I was a believer. Oh, he just needed a fresh start. No, he kind of looks like the exact same coach that he was the last 3 or 4 years at Kentucky. So, you do need, again, you look at any national championship caliber team, they have, like I said, a baseline of NBA talent. I mean, even the San Diego State team a few years ago, Keyshawn Johnson's getting his cup of coffee. I think Lamont Butler will be probably a second-round pick this year. So you need, for the third time, that baseline level of talent. But if you're giving me one or the other, I'm taking the coach. And then I would also say, too, like inherently with most coaches, if they're good enough, they're going to bring some degree of talent with them just by their name recognition alone. So I'm definitely taking the coach with that question.
What do you make of this year's Aztec team so far to start, beating Houston, beating Creighton, playing, hanging tough with Gonzaga and Oregon? What do you make of this team so far this year?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm very impressed because I think the last really 3-4 years, I mean, you could just look at so many big returning names that were year over year familiar faces. The guys that I mentioned, Matt Mitchell. I mean, you just go so many different guys that were just in this program for 3, 4, 5, and even 6 years over the years. And obviously that national championship runner-up team was a bunch of 5th, 6th-year guys that everybody knew the names of. And so I only bring it up because I'll be honest, I mean, I know a Nick Boyd from the Florida Atlantic days. I remember Miles Byrd playing limited minutes last year, but I'd be lying if I said that, I knew this roster front and back and that I had crazy high expectations coming into the year. As a matter of fact, I kind of thought, okay, is this maybe the bridge year where you have to take the step back so you can take a step forward next year? And it doesn't appear it's going to be that way. Is that it's exactly what you said. You have the win over Houston. Listen, the Oregon loss obviously looked better. Oregon was another team that I wasn't really high on coming into the season, but you beat Alabama on whatever it was Saturday night. it's hard not to say that Oregon is playing like one of the better teams early in college basketball. So all I'll say is, in Dutch we trust. And, I think early on, it seems like it's just business as usual. The names change on the court, but to John's original question, the guy on the sideline has stayed the same, and the winning appears to be continuing as well.
Yeah, they're almost unique, Aaron. And, you have the perspective of like the national college basketball scene, but can you think of a program in America that's similar in terms of the way they do it? As in, San Diego State doesn't routinely lure in top 100 recruits. I think there was a stat during the Players Era Festival that Farrell Compton, one of their freshman forwards, is their first technical like top 100 ESPN recruit since 2005. So like they find their players, defense first, chip on shoulder, long, play multiple positions, right? Do multiple things well. Is there a comparable program to San Diego State nationally that does it that way, like under the radar, not with, top 50 caliber recruits, yet wins consistently like this?
Well, I'll get to that second part in a second, but I think the first part that's really impressive to me is the retention element of it. Listen, it's easy to go into a kid's home and say, listen, man, I know you're a 2-star. We believe in you, even if some other schools don't. But it's a lot harder when that kid is playing 6 minutes a game as a freshman, comes back as a sophomore, is maybe playing, 10, 12 minutes, to convince him, hey, come back as a junior, come back as a sophomore. Listen, again, everybody has the best of intentions in recruiting. I think when you're 18 years old, hey, the opportunity to go play at San Diego State, yeah, sure, I can basically take a redshirt year. I can take a year or two to really develop. But when you're in that moment, in that element, it becomes a little bit harder because we see it every year is players get recruited. They, you think you're going to have them for 2 or 3 years, and then after a year they're not playing, they decide to leave. And so to me, that's what's the most impressive part is, again, a Miles Byrd, a guy that's, guys that have been in the program, not just been in the program, but haven't played big roles that trust the staff and trust in the process. And as you laid it out, John, there really aren't a ton of programs like that. This would be certainly a significantly less extreme example, but I do think that is one of the things that Dan Hurley has done a lot of things well, even though he's for some reason, well, for an obvious reason, been, scorned the last week or so. But what he's done really well, I don't think people realize this. Donovan Clingan was a fringe top 50 recruit. He was a top 10 pick last year. Jordan Hawkins was a top 50 recruit, a fringe top 50 recruit. He ends up being a lottery pick. Now, some of those guys obviously were recruited during the COVID years where it was a little harder to evaluate in person, but it doesn't change the fact that really up until they got Steph Castle last year, and even when Steph Castle committed, he was kind of a 4-star, fringe top 30, top 40 prospect, and he blew up his senior year. But I think that's what Hurley's done well is he's evaluated well. He's got commitments early, and then he's developed them when they got on campus. So I don't think it's comparable to one top 100 recruit since 2005, but that's the only one that immediately comes to mind of getting kids to buy in the recruiting process, trusting the process, and seeing the results out on the back end as sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
Since you brought him up, are you on Dan Hurley's side with what he said about the the MTEs and what happened in the Maui Invitational this past weekend with him, and his team not winning a single game?
Well, listen, I thought personally, and I am a UConn alum, I always preface it, I am a UConn alum. I thought the whole narrative was overblown. I think it was people were looking for something to talk about. It was a Tuesday, it was a Wednesday, it was a Now listen, he cost them the Memphis game. There's no doubt about that. But, the guy that, people felt the need to write columns about how, this is the darkest day in the history of college basketball, and I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but you get the point. It's like, those are the same people that were calling him a genius 6 months ago and saying that he was leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. So I don't listen. And I said this in another interview I did, a few days ago. Is like, listen, what makes Dan Hurley great is also the downside of it is what you saw against Memphis the other day. Is that he pushes everyone around him to the brink, his players, his assistant coaches, the referees. I've been in his practices, and there is advertised. Everybody is on edge. I mean, I'll tell you guys, I've sat in his practices where I'm afraid to move. I'm sitting in row, the 10th row of the bleachers, and I'm afraid to move because I don't want to get yelled at by Dan Hurley. Because I'm like, I've seen him yell at his players. He'll yell at me if I make too much noise. So the point I'm trying to make is that's the good with the bad. The MTE stuff, listen, that's an old John Calipari thing. He said for years, he's like, he never played in Maui. He never played in Atlantis. He basically said this isn't reflective of anything that we do at any point in the season. I was actually talking to a UConn alum and booster today about this. And listen, on the one hand, I sort of get it. I sort of think, listen, the truth is that it's short turnarounds. It's weird schedules. I mean, listen, San Diego State was on part of this as well a few years ago. I think that you guys played the last game of the day. And so, they're flying out at 5 a.m. Eastern time, and the schedules gets all screwed up and stuff. But I would also say that I do think sometimes you have to do things for the good of your fan base, for the good of college basketball. And Maui is just so kind of entrenched in college basketball that, like, it'd be a real shame as a UConn alum, I couldn't get there this year. It was like, I kind of was like, well, next time they go, I might have to go check it out because I've never been to that tournament. And so obviously I can still go and the event's going to go on. But I would be disappointed if he really did stay away from the major MTEs. Now, I'm not saying he has to go to some podunk, tournament and, I'm not going to name a place, but you know which ones I'm talking about that matter and the ones that don't. And again, as the face of college basketball, I hope that somebody talks some sense into him of, hey, once every 4 years, it's not the end of the world to play. If the worst thing that happens to you over a 4-year stretch is you got to go play 3 games in 3 days in Maui, life's going pretty good for you guys.
Yeah, having been fortunate enough to travel with San Diego State there 2 years ago, it's incredible. And San Diego State went one. And by the way, there's lessons to be learned there. The way he's talking about it, and listen, I shouldn't tell Dan Hurley how to coach. I mean, he's been remarkable at UConn, but the way he positioned it, like we went 0-3, we're not going back. San Diego State went 1-2 in that event and played UConn later that season in a national championship game. There's something that can come from that, even if it doesn't go your way, which segues me to my final question, Aaron, which is this. Is the future of college basketball this time of year more events like the Players Era Festival that San Diego State just played in that's going to give them $1.15 million to their collective? Is that now, is the next Maui Players Era because revenue is driving the bus everywhere?
It's the biggest question, for the people who care about this stuff, it's a huge question. I was in Vegas for about, a day or so last week, a little time. I have family out there. We spent our holiday out there. I wasn't able to get to the Players Era Festival. I did go to Duke, Kansas. But obviously when I was at Duke, Kansas, that tournament, the Players Era had started that day. And I talked to people who had gone over. And listen, I'm sure a lot of your audience was there and can give better firsthand experience than I can. All I will say is I am dubious that, that event is reportedly going to 16 teams next year, up from 8. And obviously, look, someone is fronting the money to the teams. I just don't know how you're going to be able to turn a profit. And anybody who's an investor in anything, at some point you expect to turn a profit and you want to turn a profit. And I can just speak from my own personal experience working for major media companies throughout my career. And I'm sure you guys have probably experienced similar is, you get a new boss or a new this or a new that. And it's, hey, go try this, go travel there, go do this, go do that. And then by year 2, year 3, it's like, if you're not turning a profit, hey, we might have to have some conversations. And so to go to 16 teams next year, obviously we would assume that they're going to double the prize pool. I just don't know how you're coming up with money where you eventually turn a profit on this thing. And so I'm a little more dubious on it than most, but everybody that was there said it was a great event. Again, I know it's expanding for at least 1 year to 16 teams next year. But to your point, John, everything in college sports right now is finding creative ways to create revenue. And so people are going to keep trying stuff like this because that is right now the name of the game in college sports.
Aaron, always appreciate the perspective. Yeah, from San Diego State's perspective, it works out beautifully. I mean, being in the West, hour flight, home away from home, getting money, playing big-time opponents, but not playing in a power league. I mean, you get everything you want if you're San Diego State. But it's a good point. I mean, will that money be there moving forward?
John, were you the one that wrote that $8 million check? That's my only question.
I didn't.
It's great when it's somebody else's money. Listen, it was a great. I couldn't watch it as closely. It was a great watch. I'm sure it was a blast for San Diego State fans that went. It's like, because you know what made it especially good? I wasn't the one writing $8 million worth of checks at the end of the tournament. So we'll just see, whoever that person is. I just don't know. Can you make that much money in that short of amount of time on ticket sales and media stuff? I don't know. Maybe you can. And maybe in 3 years, we're talking about this as you said, John, the present and future of MTEs. I'm just not totally sold right now.
Right. Hey, what's $8 million among friends? I mean,
yeah,
it's $8 million.
Chunk
for some people, it is a rounding error. Not one of them.
Not for us. Aaron, always appreciate it, my friend. We'll do it again, all right?
All right, fellas. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
All right. Aaron Torres, Fox Sports. We can react to that. Plus, get the wrap on the other side. Plus, Jared Coleman-Jones, he starred for the Aztecs against Houston on Saturday. He'll join us at 4:30. It's Jon and Jim. AM radio keeps vital voices accessible, like Jim's. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. If you want to hear more of Jim, text AM to 52886.
It's screwed.
Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. What would you do without Jim on the radio? Jared Coleman Jones in 10 minutes. Right now, let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Do you like? Oh, sorry. How much do you hate Major League Baseball's golden at bat concept that will allow any batter to come to the plate for one at bat per game?
What is this?
It's legitimate.
It's legitimately stupid.
Jason Stark wrote about it today. It could be implemented in some capacity within a year.
At any point in the game, you can just be like,
the Trout-Ohtani WBC theory. That happened in the natural progression of the game. Hey, look, it's Ohtani on the mound. It's Trout in the batter's box. What if one time you could take someone out of order and put them up at any point? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's so stupid.
And that means they will do it. And nobody will care.
Oh,
it'll be vilified, but it's not going to bring.
care.
It's not going to bring my mother to the TV.
So,
hey, let me stop.
That
what I'm doing,
and nobody will care in a good way.
Yeah,
that ruins
the whole point of the game.
Of baseball.
There's a lineup.
Like,
oh, Machado's due up 9th. You can bat him second.
Think how great it'd be if Ohtani just batted every single time.
I was thinking that same thing. Yeah, what are we talking about?
The dumbest thing ever. It's like,
is it the dumbest thing you've ever heard?
The dumbest thing I've ever
heard. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's that dumb.
If
anyone could bat,
is it? I have
you didn't
no
see this
clue
athletic
what
article,
this is.
Dude. The gold. You don't know about the golden at bat?
No.
You need to get out. A little less of the wicket, a little more of the golden at bat.
Wait, bro, don't crap on the wicket.
I'm just kidding. Although, put the golden at bat in wicket,
and it's the greatest thing ever.
Next question. It's dumb,
stupid.
Are people being too sensitive about the flag planting in college football?
Flag panting
and flag panting. Yes,
way too sensitive.
Way too sensitive. It's the essence of what a rivalry is, which is nonstop trash talking. And stuff like this happening. I'm not saying that it's like the embodiment of a rivalry, which is planting your flag in the middle of the field. But, this is what a rivalry is. And if you can't take that, then you're too sensitive and you're too soft. And you probably shouldn't be watching these games, honestly.
I thought it was brilliant theater. I watched the entire game. I was compelled by it. Now, again, do I think it's the best thing in the world for like pepper spray and like a brawl on field? No, maybe not. But was it entertaining, a good theater on television? Yeah, it was. You know how many people were watching in that exact moment?
Millions.
Ohio State loses and then that breaks down on field. You're in that 10 plus million range of people that are there for that exact moment. And that's something that will stick with people. When I think of Ohio State, Michigan, that's now a part of the rivalry moving forward.
If you think that end of the field altercation was a disgrace to the game, like Gus Johnson did, you're soft. You are soft.
I kind of agree with that Michigan player, and it's just like they're not used to losing. So now when they lose, they throw a fit. I'm sure Ohio State, the times they beat Michigan, they just went through the handshake line with class and didn't do anything.
Enjoyed the game.
Well, they actually are used to losing because they lose every single year to Michigan.
Their senior class didn't beat Michigan once,
and they had one of the best
recruiting
Yeah,
classes
but that was
ever.
after how long of Michigan not winning?
8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
Next question.
Speaking of that, should Ohio State fire Ryan Day?
Yeah, I don't think there's any going back from this. I really don't. The way that he looked after the game, completely confused.
Just stood there like a goon, like Eberflus on Thanksgiving.
Says all you need to know about like Ryan Day and this Ohio State program. You can't bring him back. It's over. It's too far gone.
Ryan Day to the Bears, Eberflus to Ohio State. Next question.
Don't even speak it into existence. What should be Sean Lewis's biggest priority this offseason?
I think his biggest priority this offseason should be maintaining and retaining the quarterback position and looking to possibly improve it if he has the chance to. Because the quarterback, as he said, and he's right, it's the most important position on the field, and you got to do everything you possibly can to get the quarterback right first. Everything else falls in place.
I'm building up both of my lines from a depth perspective,
That
offensive
too,
and defensive line.
yeah.
I mean, that's the priority. And if I can, I'm retaining as much as I can from like the Trey Whites, Chris Johnsons, Tano Latulis, Jordan Napier, Danny O'Neal, like this young core. You're not keeping it all. That's just what college football is. If you can keep a majority of this 6, 7, 8, you keep 4, 5, 6 of that 6, 7, 8, I think you're on the right path.
The offensive line was an embarrassment this year. And that, you're right. It's a priority along with the quarterback. Like, keeping him upright, because if you can't keep Danny upright and the offensive line plays similar next year like it did this year, big problems.
Jared Coleman-Jones, Aztecs senior forward, start against the University of Houston on Saturday with 16 points. He'll join us next. All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer, and stop letting high interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new rapid equity loan. Listen up, homeowners. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. Talking about no appraisals or paperwork or waiting. Loan Pronto's all-new rapid equity loan uses AI-driven technology to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and now is saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine a week from now, you could be credit card debt free. Don't wait. Get your cash fast. Call 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. San Diego State coming off of their Big win over Houston over the weekend. Jumped up into the top 25 AP poll, coming in at number 24 today. Miles Byrd was named the Mountain West Player of the Week, while Farrell Compton was named the Freshman of the Week. And NFL news of the day, both running backs for the Niners are going on IR. Chris McCaffrey, season's likely over with a PCL sprain, and Jordan Mason going on IR with a high ankle sprain. And Monday Night Football tonight, the Broncos take on the Browns for Monday Night Football, 5:15 kickoff there. The slow roasted Cantina chicken menu is here to stay with ingredients like purple cabbage and freshly prepared pico de gallo. Try it today at a participating U.S. Taco Bell location while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
All right, so you just mentioned it, Jim, in the update. San Diego State, a really good week in Las Vegas. Back ranked in the AP poll for the first time here in 24-25. And we're joined right now by Jared Coleman-Jones. He transferred in for his senior year, and he's coming off a great game against number 6 Houston, 16 points, 5 rebounds, clutch threes and buckets late as well for San Diego State in that overtime win. So, Jared, we appreciate you taking time here on Jon and Jim on the home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. How would you describe the past week for the program and yourself as you continue to move forward here?
I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah.
It's been a week of growth, honestly. I think that we're just showing that, we can make the adjustment very quickly. We're a team that doesn't have much ego and just a lot of room to grow. So I think we're just showing that we can grow at a rapid pace.
And speaking of growing, it feels like, yes, you're growing a lot here, but it also, when I watch it on the court, it looks like you guys have been playing basketball together for a while. What's been the one thing that has made it seem like you guys have been playing together for a long time with everybody being so new to this team this year?
I think just like, the growth. I mean, honestly, just the space that the coaches provide for us, even on Thanksgiving, for us coming home and going to Dave's house for Thanksgiving meal. It's just the amount of time we spend around each other, the way we can hold each other accountable without backlash. We're just really receptive to each other. And I think the love shows on the court, and it shows like, making the one more or an advancing it up the court or coming over to help on a defensive play for your brother. It's like, it just shows. I mean, we just spend so much time around each other. We genuinely love each other. We love playing with each other. So I think that's what's been showing us as of lately.
Aztec fans love to hear it. Jared Coleman-Jones is with us right now, the senior forward for SDSU. So take our listeners back, Jared. You're coming off a ton of success at Middle Tennessee State last year, all-conference performer. You had offers all over the country for Division I basketball in the portal. What made San Diego State the right fit for you?
Honestly, it was the culture. I was on Twitter. I was just doing my homework, and it's a winning culture. I saw a lot of guys come from here. Nate Ninta, Alonzo Wade, Renzo Wade, just a lot of different guys that came. Matt Brad, and they all have a mindset. I played with a lot of them over the summer on the pro-am, and there's one thing I can say: they all have the same mindset in terms of winning. Like, even we're playing pro-am basketball, it's rec basketball, but they're still teaching me and giving me things to take into the season. It was just the culture here. The culture here is such a different culture from anything I've been exposed to in college basketball. So, it really drew me in. NIL was a conversation, but, past the money, past notoriety, it was just like, I want to become better as a basketball player. I want to become better as a person. I want to educate myself further in terms of school. So, this was the best place for that. So that's what made me choose San Diego State.
Jared, the last 4 games going through Gonzaga, Creighton, Oregon, and Houston, and playing well in all 4 of those games. The ball bounces away your way a couple times against Oregon. Maybe you win that game. You hung tough with Gonzaga. Miles was obviously not 100% in that game, but you guys held your own. How much does that do for you guys as a group going forward, as far as like confidence level that, hey, we can play with anybody in the nation?
Well, I think that was an idea, honestly, before we even played them. Our coaches give us a boatload of confidence. They teach us the right things to do. They give us a cheat code literally before every game. I think it was just more us just applying it, going through those games and seeing the growth that we have shown, seeing, the amount of lock-in and amount of attention to detail that it takes, and then finally being able to put it together, especially at the end of the game against Houston. I think that's where we showed our most growth is taking our time on those offensive possessions, really locking in and keying in on certain things on defense so we can win the game on those little things. So I think that's one thing that we've shown throughout those 4 games. It's like we can play with anybody because of our attention to detail, because of how hard we go, because, of our love for each other and our love for each other as a team. So
makes sense. Jared Coleman-Jones with us right now on Jon and Jim. So you just took part in something that basically was a college basketball first, which was the Players Era Festival, where money will exchange hands. Obviously, like money is going to go to student athletes like yourself through the Mesa Collective, basically like a pro model in college. So what's that like to experience firsthand?
It was insane, honestly. Just some of the things they had set up for us, the coverage. My mom's calling me and telling me it's crazy to see me in a tournament like this. My dad was able to come out and just experience it with me. It was honestly like a playing tournament in the NBA. That's what it felt like, because that's what it looks like on TV, and to see myself and my teammates like ball out on film, it was like it just feels incredible. And on top of that, it's the first time it's ever been done. So like we're literally like a part of history. So it's just a great feeling overall.
Yeah, and you guys got a good chunk of change to bring back here to San Diego State and the Mesa. So playing next to Magoon Guath, as young as he is, describe how good he really is on defense, changing the game down low, being such an advanced shot blocker at such a young age that this guy is.
His wingspan helps a lot, but his timing on the ball is incredible. I mean, just to have someone down there, especially when you can play as hard as you need to play on defense, jump out and pounce out. So we do a lot of switch forward. I can pounce out, and even if I get beat to the rim, I know if I keep running, Magoon's going to be there to block the shot, because hands down, he's like the best shot blocker in the country. And I knew that from like when I first got here. I even had trouble with him trying to finish over him in the paint, trying everything, pump fakes, ball fakes, rondos, and everything I could do, up and unders. And he times it all. He just has a really good thing when it comes to blocking shots. Like, I'm telling you, he's the best shot blocker in the country, hands down.
Jared Coleman, yeah, I mean, he's been unbelievable. I mean, it's just amazing. It's like innate. Like you watch it, it just happens in real time. It just feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, I mean, you watch it play out, it's just not really teachable. He just does it, right? Like it just happens in front of your eyes. There's no really plan in place. He just makes the play, right?
Yeah, like I'm on the court with him, so I have a little bit of better view.
Yeah.
Like you can just watch you can track his eyes. Like he knows when the shot is going up. He knows when a lob is gonna get thrown. He knows when you're gonna try to touch it versus dunk it. Like he just knows what shot you're gonna go up to try to make. He times it up. Like he times it. He probably knows what type of shot you're gonna make before you take the shot.
Yeah, there was
and
one.
I think his anticipation is incredible. Like, and him being 7 foot with an incredibly long wingspan, it just makes it a better case for him. Honestly,
yeah.
I feel like even if he was a bit shorter, maybe if he was even like 6'10", he still have the same time.
No, he's been incredible. There was one shot that I think he blocked in the tournament. He was in the key, and he blocked a 3-pointer, and I was like, "What?" It was like 2 steps, and he blocks the 3-pointer.
He blocked it and didn't get a foul. He like blocked it and jumped to the side, and that's all.
Yeah, it's just
or the one play he was all the way at the other bench against Oregon and chased down block.
Yeah, it's just been incredible.
It was incredible. He literally ran from the other bench all the way to the rim.
That's a wingspan right there for you. Jared, one of your teammates, Nick Boyd, one of the leaders of your team, how comfortable, and we've talked to him a bunch of times, he just is like a natural born leader, in my opinion. How comfortable is it to have him be the point guard of his team, leading you guys day in and day out?
Honestly, Nick, he's about the right things. Like there's like a saying, you know, a lot of coaches have asked me this over my life just playing basketball, like, are you living right? So, like, are you doing the right things off the court? You know, are you talking about the right things? Are you telling yourself the right things? And I think Nick is just one of those guys, like, he's always doing the right thing. He's always making the right decisions. He's just always doing the right thing. Like, we literally have Bible study together, and he's always talking about the right things, trying to guide guys in the right direction. He's always talking during defensive drills, so always teaching Taj. You know, Taj is going to be an incredible basketball player for us as time goes on. And he's just teaching, giving him everything, giving him every little small detail that he can work on to become a better player. I think it's just so comfortable to have Nick here because he's really going to be able to take this team far, and we go as far as he goes because he's a maestro. So I think it's just great to have him on the court with us.
Final one for me, Jared. And you've played a lot of college basketball. You know, you're probably at the point where, you know, you're touching 100 career games, maybe more than that or something like that. What does it take to kind of bounce back off a high? Like, you guys are coming off a great event. You beat Creighton, you beat Houston, and now conference play just all of a sudden in early December begins and you're playing your first true road game of the year. What does it take to kind of get over last week and turn all of your focus to what's to come?
I think just like today, we had practice, and I think that it's just an over-exaggeration that comes with it. You got to, like, put it in the past. And it was a great win, and it was a great tournament to be a part of, and it was fun. But I think at the end of the day, you know, we got to put that behind us because the season is still young. You know, we got to learn from our mistakes, learn from our successes, and just move forward. Because, like, at the end of the day, now we have a target on our back. Because, you know, we can beat San Diego State, Fresno State. We can beat San Diego State the first game in conference. You know, that looks good for us.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Jared, congratulations on all your successes to this point. The team's fast start, your 16-point effort against Houston, and we'll catch up with you later on. And best of luck on Wednesday night on the road against Fresno State. And thanks for taking time for us.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Great stuff from Jared Coleman-Jones. Yeah, all he's done so far is shoot 50% from three.
Is that good?
So he was a guy that last year shot 44% at Middle Tennessee State from three. And like, is he going to do that again? Jaden last year was a 40% guy with similar usage, and he's shooting now 50%. And he's made 5 or 6 of them in 6 games, including 3 against Houston.
One thing he said there that stood out when you asked him about, you know, the reasons why he came here, and he mentioned, like, yeah, NIL, but culture,
winning.
I mean, everybody that we talked to on this team, one of the first things that they mentioned to either why they chose to come here through the transfer portal or as a freshman being recruited is because of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, again, a testament to Brian Dutcher and the staff. Like, man, culture is a real thing in college athletics.
I agree.
If you have that, you can take that a long way.
You combine culture with your collective, and you can keep these players in this system, and, you know, you can have the success that San Diego State has had. All right. Speaking of San Diego State, who wants tickets for Saturday night at Viejas Arena for a crosstown showdown? San Diego State, USD. We have a pair of tickets to see the Aztecs take on USD on Saturday night, the Toreros, at 7 p.m. at Viejas Arena. If you want a pair of tickets, you can play trivia. First 2 callers will be our contestants on trivia. 877-767-4760. Call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs this Saturday night at Viejas Arena against USD at 7 p.m. Again, 877-767-4760. Limited tickets available at goaztecs.com. If you want 2 free tickets, call right now. First 2 callers will be our contestants. Again, 877-767-4760. That's next. All right, Jon and Jim back with. We've got Aztec tickets to give away coming up in a moment with Trainwreck Radio. We have another pair to give away in the 5 o'clock hour. And we have developing Padres news that we'll get into at 5 p.m. The story is add to the list of priorities catcher because Kyle Higashioka is about to sign elsewhere. So more on that coming up in 10 minutes.
Way to just break the news.
Well, that's our job.
I thought we were going to tease it to the next segment.
Well, I mean, people have the internet.
I know it's true.
Like, hey, stick around 10 minutes to find out the Padres news. You're asking a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot to ask.
Kyle Higashioka is going to sign elsewhere.
Correct. Where's he going to sign?
Where,
I'll let you know.
And what does it mean for the Padres? We'll let you know on the other side. But right now, let's play.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Rick and we have Walter. Rick, you called in first, so you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
I'll go with Jon Schaefer.
Jon Schaefer. I like that, Rick. Appreciate you.
No problem.
Why did you go with me over Jim?
You're the voice of the Aztecs.
You're the voice of the Aztecs.
Yeah, but Jim...
I'm the voice of the
Jim
nobodies.
saw Wicked this weekend. Thank you, Rick. All right, Walter, you're with Wicked Zone Jim Russell.
Yes, you're with me, Walter. Are you there?
Sounds good. Let's do it, Jim.
All right, let's do it, buddy. Brent, what's the question of the day?
All right, guys. So far this season, 8 players have 10 or more rushing touchdowns in the NFL. Today's question, can you name any of the 8 players that have 10 or more rushing touchdowns this season?
Okay.
10 or more rushing touchdowns.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Walter, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley on the list.
Dude, his year is getting to be like historically good.
He's on pace to break Dickerson's record.
With plus 1 game from Dickerson? Or is it because was
One
it a
game
16 game or 14 game season for Dickerson? 16?
It was,
but it's been an amazing year.
Rick, you're up next. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Let me go with that lifeline, John. Drawing a blank.
Already, wow.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
It was because it was Henry Barkley yesterday. I'll go with Derrick Henry.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's
All
been
right,
great.
There we go. Walter, back to you. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Montgomery from the Detroit Lions.
Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
Rick, back to you. You don't have a lifeline, so this is all up to you. Hopefully you don't have a brain fart. What do you got?
My fantasy team, I got Connor on Arizona.
Arizona's Connor.
Arizona's Connor.
No, Connor is not on the list.
Connor
James
is not on the list.
Darn.
Walter could win it here with the correct answer. He also has a lifeline. What do you got here, Walter? Lifeline.
Christian McCaffrey. I know it's you.
No, he's not. I don't think he's had any rushing touchdowns this
year.
he
has. He had 1, I thought.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
He did. Okay.
All right. I got 2 in my head. I think they're both right. I will give you one that's a little wonky off the board. I will give you Jalen Hurts. Do you take that?
Jalen Hurts.
You take that?
Yes.
He takes that.
Boom.
Look at you, Jim.
Well, I'm Mr. Eagle now.
Your flyer yourself.
I'm Mr. Eagle now
that the Niners are
done.
And the Eagles have won 10 straight.
And Aaron's going to be rooting hard for the Eagles. And so I have to back her.
To your point, Christian McCaffrey has followed up his 1,459-yard rushing season with 14 touchdowns with 200 yards and 0 touchdowns this year.
Correct. It's
so he was better last year.
It's an all-time disaster of a year.
He's been hurt.
I know he's been hurt, but it just goes to like, hey, Kyle, you might want to give him a little bit of a rest during games instead of running him out there every single freaking play.
Right. What did it happen in the game before it happened, or did it happen like right there in real time when he went down?
No, it happened the previous play when he ran. I think it was like a 30-yard run, and he got tripped up.
Yeah.
If he didn't get tripped up, he scored a touchdown. He's never hurt.
Yes, he was tripped up, breaking through.
Yeah.
Got like
his
tackled
knee,
low.
His knee hit the turf.
Yes.
In like a way that gave his a PCL like his popped or something. And the next play is like,
and he went down.
He went down.
Gotcha. All right, who else is on this list?
All right, Derrick Henry's number 1. Hurts is 2.
Jahmyr
Barkley's
Gibbs.
3.
Gibbs?
Yep, he's on the list. He's towards the bottom. Let's see. Then after Barkley had James Cook. And they had Joe Mixon, Montgomery, Gibbs, and then Kyron Williams.
Walter, congratulations. You've won a free pair of tickets to see San Diego State and USD men's basketball Saturday at 7 p.m. at Viejas Arena. Tickets, limited tickets, might be available at goaztecs.com. We have another pair of tickets to give away in the 5 o'clock hour. And on the other side, where do the Padres go from here? They'll be replacing their starting catcher, essentially, in 2025. We've got the details next on Jon and Jim.
This update is brought to you by Taco Bell. San Diego State are now in the top 25 of the AP polls at 24. Also, Miles Bird named the Mountain West Conference Player of the Week. Farrell Compton named the Freshman of the Week in the Mountain West Conference. And NFL news, Christian McCaffrey's season's pretty much over. Placed on IR with a PCL sprain in his knee. The Slow Roasted Cantina Chicken menu is here to stay with ingredients like purple cabbage and freshly prepared pico de gallo. Try it today at participating U.S. Taco Bell location while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home. Blake Snell to the Dodgers? What's AJ Preller's answer? Or will there be one? Plus, an upset win over number 6 Houston.
Aztecs will drive. Beautiful finger roll. Up and in and a foul call. That is Farrell Compton.
We'll react to the game now. Time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim right here on San Diego Sports 760, the free iHeartRadio app. We're on YouTube, also on HD Radio 1015, channel number 2. We do have a developing story out of the Padres. We also have Aztec tickets to give away for Saturday night against USD. We'll do that between now and 6 p.m. But it's being reported by multiple media outlets that the Rangers and Kyle Higashioka have made progress on a free agent contract. So started the year as the backup catcher for the Padres, finished the year as the starting catcher essentially for the Padres. Remember, Padres, young catching prospect Luis Campusano has just not turned a corner. Like, he did not have a good year, and Higgy did. And he had some huge moments, obviously, for the Padres over the course of 2024. It doesn't appear as if Kyle Higashioka will be back in 2025. So I don't know if it's the number one priority. It'll probably work itself out. I don't know if you're looking for a starting catcher or a backup catcher, truthfully, if you're AJ Preller. But if you thought Higgy was coming back, I think a lot of people thought he would ultimately be back. It doesn't sound like he will be in 2025.
Sorry. Yeah, I think that now when you look at priorities for this team or things that need to get done, catcher jumps up a couple spots to me.
Mm-hmm.
If they re-signed Higgy, was he going to put up 18 home runs for you?
Good point.
Next year, probably not. But defensively, he's miles ahead of Luis Campusano, in my opinion. Like, that's not even a question.
Mm-hmm.
Campy just has not figured it out here for whatever reason. It's just not worked. Brett Sullivan is not the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Luis Campusano is not the answer. Clearly, it sounds like right now. And Ethan Salas is not the answer for another 2-3 years potentially.
Right.
So when you read AJ Cassavell's priority list, you might take catcher and put that close to the top because that's a very, very important position.
Massive. Yeah, no, agreed. And Higgy, was a bit of a bargain last year, like you said, considering the success and all the playing time and the fact that he started as a backup and finished the year as a starter. And he did it coming over in that Soto deal. How much money did he make? I'm looking. It was very reasonable. He made $2 million.
Yeah.
So, he's going to get a bump, obviously, with Texas. We'll find out what the number is. He's 34 years of age. To your point, was he going to replicate it? Is it the biggest loss? And that's with all due respect. It's just like you had a 34-year-old catcher put together a career year. Was it going to be replicated? I don't know. Is he replaceable? Yeah, probably, but you got to find the right backstop. I'm with you on Campusano. It's like, how much longer do you go down this well? He's 26. In 277 at bats last year, he had a negative .7 WAR. His career WAR is negative, and he's 26. Like, he's had opportunities. He's had almost 600 big league at bats, and he has a negative WAR. That's your starting catcher in 2025.
That's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, that's a liability.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't have much faith in Campy. Last year was like kind of the year that they gave him the reins, and it's like
didn't take him.
Sink or swim now, and he sank. And defensively, he's just not there. He's not going to be there. Offensively, he's
not there.
Not there at all.
Yeah.
It's like, now is he going to turn that corner? Like, I don't think so. So you got a problem because you need to get a reliable catcher that you can put behind the plate for 130 games. And I don't think
130 is probably high.
110
maybe. Yeah.
110. And they don't have that right now. And if I swear to God, if I see one article from Dennis or Kevin that the Padres are considering bringing up Ethan Salas to be the catcher of this team because they can't go out and get a catcher. It's just, what are we doing here? You don't have the resources to go out and re-sign Higgy. So you have to bring a guy up too soon. I mean, come on, guys. Like,
right. No, it's a good point because
spend some money. What are we doing?
Yeah, because there has to be, it could be more than a stopgap, but and if nothing else, there has to be a stopgap to Ethan Salas. There's no world. I'm sorry. The Merrill thing was incredible. If Ethan Salas had any season anywhere near Jackson Merrill next year for the Padres, that would be like the greatest accomplishment in recent franchise history. If 19-year-old Ethan Salas comes up here, makes 113 starts, and is Jackson Merrill 2.0, I mean, incredible. But I cannot forecast that. He's barely played in the minor leagues. He hasn't hit or hit for power by and large. He's coming into his own. He needs to be developed. You can't just skip the process and say, oh, well, we lost Higgy, so bring up Salas. You can't. I don't think that's the plan, but that can't be the plan, is my point. It can't be the plan.
That's why I'm a little scared that going into next year, they might fast track a couple guys because they can't go out and get the pieces to replace what they are losing. Like Leo DeVries shouldn't see shortstop anytime soon. Sorry. Ethan Salas should not see the catching position anytime soon. Like,
I agree.
Let these guys develop. They're not even 20 years old yet. Not even close. And being a catcher in the big leagues at 20
is like unheard of.
It's the rarest of rare things to see because it never happens before. Look at Pudge. Pudge is a Hall of Fame backstop, Hall of Fame catcher. All right. Even his first couple years in the bigs were not good. Yeah, Buster Posey didn't come up until he was like 23 or 22 or whatever it was.
Right.
If they even consider bringing Salas up at like 19, what are we doing?
Yeah, to your point. So Pudge is a 20-year-old, which is so rare just to get an opportunity as a catcher.
Yeah.
Had a 75 OPS plus. Therefore, he was 25% worse than a big league average hitter as a rookie. His second year, his OPS plus below big league average. His third year, below big league average. I get it. He was a brilliant defensive backstop. But it took until his fourth year for him to be an above average hitter in the major leagues. He was 24. Yeah. It's hard to develop a catcher. That would be the one. That's the one excuse I can make for Campy, because there are guys that get developed in their late 20s. Like there's a lot of catchers that come into their own. Higgy would be an example. Like those breakthrough years can come at 29, but are you going to be patient and just wait for it to happen because it's cheap?
Have you seen a moment with Campy so far? You're like, yeah.
No, I haven't.
Exactly.
Being honest.
Yeah.
And he's had moments at the plate. He hasn't been completely inept. He's hit for some limited power.
A couple.
He's had
moments, I guess.
And I'm sure he's called some good games over the course of his career, but by and large, he's left a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
And has not grabbed the bull by the horns when it comes to just taking the reins as a starter.
And another thing, which is very important, he can't stay healthy.
Oh, that too.
Like your best ability is your availability, and he can't stay healthy. He's always on the IL. There's always some nagging injury. Now it's the catcher position always is a nagging injury. You're never fully healthy, but these aren't like nagging injuries that he deals with. These are nagging injuries that puts him on the IL. And then guess what happens? Higgy comes in, performs better than him. And then now Higgy's this team starting catcher and Campy is on the bench and never seen it for again.
I mean, yeah. I mean, listen, among the list of priorities, left field with Jerkson Profar, rotation without Joe Musgrove. Every bullpen needs to be improved in an offseason. Catcher, shortstop. I mean, they're all important. And catcher is probably a top 3 priority right now behind starting pitcher and left field. Like, go get a starting pitcher, Sasaki. That'd be nice. Go get a left fielder, Profar, arguably, or maybe. Go get a catcher. Or do they go into camp saying, you know what? Campy can go win the job. We'll go find a veteran free agent like Higgy or trade for someone like that, 33-year-old, marginal numbers, and we'll find the right one. You know, you just go find that $1 million catcher that's 33 like Kyle Higashioka was and hope you hit like you've hit before.
So who's
that guy?
Who's that guy?
I have no idea.
Free agent.
It's Jorge Alfaro. Right.
No.
3 years later, 2 years later.
Free agent catchers.
The numbers are never sexy with catchers, right? You're not looking for gaudy offensive numbers.
No, but you're looking for
backstops.
a guy that can, yeah. So Higgy, Travis d'Arnaud, he already signed with the Angels. I have no idea who Danny Jansen is.
Go get him. Bring
back
him home.
Bring back old friend Gary Sanchez.
Oh yeah, exactly. There's guys.
Elias Diaz. He was with the Padres last year for a hot second.
Yeah, late. Yep.
Bring back old friend Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be options.
Jan Gomes, Kirk Sally.
I'm just curious what kind of deal we're looking at for Higgy that the Padres weren't willing to, I guess, match.
Well, Travis d'Arnaud just signed a 2-year deal with the Angels. I would suspect that Higgy's looking for something around that deal. Now, that deal was a 2-year. How much is that worth? $12 million deal, $6 million a year. So maybe can't be, or can't be. Maybe Higgy gets like a 2-year, $10 million deal.
And that's too rich for the Padres. I'm wondering, like, would you sign him to a 2-year deal? He's 34. Again, are you buying off career years or not? It is a fair question for AJ Preller. Are you trying to buy at the peak price? Are you betting on Higgy to repeat what he just did? Are you betting on Profar to repeat what he just did? That's a really fair question. Or can you buy low and get similar production? Can you find the right player?
Here's Higgy's last couple of years here. Last year, again, you get all these career years from guys and it makes things difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it
was more like a career month, wasn't it?
It was a career year.
But his June was absurd.
It was absurd. But overall, he put together a 1.4 WAR season,
which is really good.
Best of his career by far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm looking at just numbers here, all right. He's had double-digit home runs in the last 4 seasons with the Yankees and the Padres. He's never played more than 92 games in a season. He's never going to give you any. I mean, he hit 220 last year, but he gave you what you needed, which is some pop behind the plate.
Mm-hmm.
His last 4 seasons, 10 home runs, 10 home runs, 10 home runs, 17 home runs.
100 home runs, whatever he did this past year.
He hit 181 in 2021, 227, 236, 220.
I mean, 17 home runs in half a year is a massive number.
It is.
Okay, hold on. Here's the deal from the Dallas Morning News. The Rangers have agreed to a deal. So this is no longer.
This is like
they have agreed to a deal. John Morosi first reported that they were making progress. He'll turn 35 in April. And it doesn't have terms in here. Okay, so it doesn't have terms. Again, if he's 35, I mean, I do think it's a fair question, Jim. If he gets 2 years as a 35-year-old catcher and he gets $10, $12 million, is that too rich for the Padres' blood? I mean, I kind of maybe understand it. 35-year-old and 36-year-old.
I kind of understand it too.
And
it sucks because you know what?
I liked him.
I do like him a lot. And if there weren't these, quote, parameters that Mike Shildt are speaking of, you bring back Higgy for 2 for 10.
Yeah, okay.
And it's
all good.
All good. And you're not worried about it at all. And you got a catcher that you go into the season with that you feel comfortable with. And hopefully Campy takes some type of turn. And if not, then you have Brett Sullivan. And if not, then, I don't know, bring back Elias Diaz, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you have somebody they feel very comfortable with going into the start of the season.
Right.
Now you have a huge question mark behind the plate. You have a huge question mark at shortstop. You have no left fielder. Probably going to have to work some big-time magic out of his pants this offseason.
Okay, we'll hear from Mike Shildt on AJ Preller's offseason plans on the other side. Plus, we're giving away Aztec tickets for Saturday night. We're here until 6 p.m. Jim's back page still ahead. It's Jon and Jim.
Down his pants.
All right, hey guys, it is Jon and Jim for our friends at Hamul Casino. You need to get there every Monday in December, including tonight. Listen to this for a chance to win luxury handbags. Our wives will love that.
Oh, yes.
Top brands. We're talking about Louis Vuitton and Burberry and Versace and more. 10 winners every hour, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And Onyx players receiving an extra $100 cash bonus, plus one lucky winner each hour gets the opportunity to pick a purse packed with cash up to 25 grand, and you get to keep the purse.
And after you get the purse with the $25,000 in cash, you can go over to Tony Gwynn Sports Pub or Loft 94 or their poker rooms. And this weekend, you can watch UFC 310 starting at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. Also, if you don't want to do that, you can go to their new Chinese cuisine restaurant, Emerald. You can get in there and you get some great food with their new refreshed menu. They have delicious dishes. You can enjoy a fresh dining atmosphere right now at Hamul Casino. It's a great place to go to watch a sporting event and eat some great food.
No doubt about it. And then join them on New Year's Eve for the holographic New Year party. Celebrate in style, kicking off festivities with $20 in free play for all at noon. Don't miss it. New Year's Eve at Hamul.
Yeah, Hamul Casino. It's a great place to go to watch a sporting event, a great place to win some great prizes like a brand new purse with $25,000 cash inside that purse. Hamul Casino, it's fun above all else.
All right, again, you can hit us up on that talkback mic. Just open the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to San Diego Sports 760. Tap that little microphone icon next to the play button to leave a 30-second talkback. We have Jim's Backstage coming up. We're also giving away Aztec tickets for Saturday night against USD. Be listening. We'll give those away in the next 30 minutes. We're going to 2 free tickets to San Diego State USD. Now, we heard this earlier, but if you missed it, this was Mike Shildt, Foul Territory Podcast, talking about the Padres offseason. You look around, you're like, man, here we go again. Wide offseason. We talked about Iggy, Blake Snell of the Dodgers. They're coming off the World Series win. Disappointment of the way the postseason ended. To the Padres have something up their sleeves? Listen to this from Mike Shildt.
Yeah, no, he's doing something. This cat, you know him, AJ. I mean, our man Preller, he sleeps very little. He plays a little hoops, and then he is looking to dominate every day on behalf of the Padres. So, yeah, does he have something up his sleeve? He's got stuff up both sleeves, down his pants, in his shoes. I mean, he's got stuff going on everywhere. This cat is always getting after it. So, I couldn't even begin to keep up with hardly any of it. I just tell him when he gets close to something, let me know, and he'll call to run something by me as far as makeup of a player or just thoughts on a player. But he's a force of nature, man. So he's going to do everything he can within the parameter he's given to give us a competitive club.
He's going to need to. I mean, we joked earlier about down his pants, up his sleeves. The reason he's going to need to is because it's becoming abundantly clear they have holes, like we talked about a few minutes ago. This Rangers deal, by the way, and Jim will be here momentarily, but this Rangers deal is now official. It's a 2-year deal with a mutual option for 2027. So I kind of get that's a little rich. He's 35.
What's the dollar amount?
I don't have the dollar amount yet. So that'll be interesting, but it's a 2-year deal with the possibility of a 3rd year for Kyle Higashioka to the Texas Rangers. So now you're talking about at least a platoon catcher you need to get, at least a left fielder because of Profar, at least a starting pitcher because of Musgrove, right? Like these are all got to figure out shortstop. That you're going to need things up your sleeves. And the winter meetings coming next week, they're going to have to be somewhat fruitful for AJ Preller and the Padres.
So go out and get 5 more shortstops.
Yes, and then plug them in at all the various.
Play them at catcher and first base, left field or right field, all the spots we need.
Oh, look who it is. Oh, Jim from Jon Jim. What you missed, Jim, is that the deal is official. It's 2 years with a mutual option for a 3rd year for 35-year-old catcher Kyle Higashioka.
How much?
We don't have terms, but it is the Rangers have even tweeted out that the deal is done. So this happened quick. It's been reposted by AJ Cassavell from some of the covers of the Rangers. The Rangers have signed Higgy to a 2-year deal with a mutual option for 2027. Texas needed another catcher to share time with Jonah Heim, who was Gold Glove and an All-Star in 2023, but struggled last year.
Great.
So he'll platoon.
Oh, cool.
In 2025 and 2026 and maybe even 2027.
So the Rangers got the starting catcher from the Padres.
Yeah.
That they made their backup.
No, I don't think they're backup. My guess is to platoon.
Okay, platoon.
Right. Half the starts is my guess. It'll be interesting to see what the dollars are. I don't think it'll be anything crazy because it's a guy coming off of one more season at age 34. So like you said, what, 2 years, 10 million? I'd be surprised if it was more than 2 years, 12 million.
I would be too, yeah.
But again, I mean, the Rangers might be among those teams that have more money, right? They've opened their new stadium and they've spent a little bit over the last half decade. And the Padres are the team that's kind of curtailing spending. This goes with what MLB trade rumors said last night. Padres got to save $40 million. How do you do it? Well, they just save 5 or 6. It sucks, but that's kind of what's happening.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it because if you're sitting there and be like, oh, we need to save $2 million here and $6 million there per year. And it's like, that's bad. That's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion, because if you're penny pinching now in a time where you are in a window,
right? You're in a window, right?
You're in a definite window where you got to win and you're penny pinching already. What, 2 years into this window?
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
I hate that they tweeted the Rangers getting Higgy with it. Like, no, you can't do that yet. Like, come on. We had such fun times in 2024 getting Higgy with it. It's such a Padres tweet, is it not? The Padres should be tweeting getting Higgy with it.
It's a baseball tweet, John.
It is an MLB advanced media office tweet.
Right.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
2 years for the 30. He'll be 35 to start the year, but a 2-year deal with a mutual option for a 3rd year.
Well, looks
Higgy.
like Preller is
He's
not
gonna
much in
need
his
things
pants
up
right
those
now.
We just played the sound while you were masquerading around the office.
Yeah, I was just masquerading around, just skipping and hopping,
talking to people,
just like,
having orange shoes,
la-di-da.
Hummus and crackers, whatever you're doing out there.
Hummus and crackers.
Yeah,
more like chocolate chip cookies and
did you have
chocolate
some?
kisses?
Really?
Yeah, must be nice.
Really?
It's nice. Yeah,
really. All right. So again, another hole to fill for the Padres.
Well, don't worry.
What? No. Wherever you're going, just stop. Seriously, wherever you're going with it. The analogy is not going to work. I promise you, the analogy is not going to work with whatever. Stop talking. Stop.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just laughing.
Okay. On the other side, we'll give away Aztec tickets for Saturday night against USD. We have Jim's back page coming up as well. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. Breaking news in baseball. The Rangers have come to a 2-year agreement with now former Padres catcher Kyle Higashioka. The terms of the deal right now are yet to be known, but Higgy is a Texas Ranger. San Diego State basketball is in the top 25 for the first time all season long, coming in at number 24, coming off their big win against Houston, number 6 ranked Houston, on Saturday night. Miles Bird, the player of the week in the Mountain West Conference, and Pharaoh Compton, the freshman of the week in the Mountain West Conference. The slow roasted Cantina chicken menu is here to stay with ingredients like purple cabbage and freshly prepared pico de gallo. Try it today at a participating U.S. Taco Bell location while supplies last. Contact store for participation, which varies.
All right, San Diego State on the road Wednesday, Jim. Did you realize? Oh, San Diego State in Fresno, Mountain West opener. Pre-game coverage at 7. That'll be after the Sean Lewis show on signing day. Ted's going to have the tip from Fresno right around 7:30. Your home, the Aztecs, San Diego Sports, 760. We're going to give away Aztec basketball tickets for Saturday at Viejas Arena in the next 10 minutes. So do not go anywhere. We have 2 free tickets, a Saturday night at Viejas Arena to see San Diego State and the University of San Diego. Toreros and Aztecs, crosstown showdown. Saturday at 7. We have 2 free tickets we'll give away in the next 10 minutes. Be listening for your chance to win those 2 free tickets. We're tracking the story Jim's been talking about in his last 2 updates. Kyle Higashioka to the Texas Rangers on a 2-year deal with a mutual option for a 3rd year. Now, there's this text, Jim, but I think we orchestrated this point. The texter disagrees. 619 says, you guys are looking at catchers wrong.
We are?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, catchers.
Oh.
Yeah, you think they catch?
Oh, they don't?
They don't catch anymore.
Oh, okay.
It says you only need a catcher for running the pitching staff, which we talked about with Campy. A good catcher is akin to a point guard on a basketball team or a linebacker on a good defense. They're about strategy and leadership, not stat output.
Okay, that's completely wrong.
Well, there's
unless you're talking about like 1970s point guards.
Right. Well, right. Because you're saying point guards have real production.
Yeah.
Right.
And middle linebackers are
right. Is the point that is the point that calling a game is important for a catcher? Yeah, absolutely. It is, but you can't hit 180 either. I mean, who proved that? Austin Hedges. And everyone ran him out of town. Because if you can hit 180 and be a good defensive catcher, well then you'd be Austin Hedges.
Yeah, you're not looking for your catcher.
No, he's only
280 with 25 bombs.
But he can't be anemic.
No.
And he has to be a good defensive player, which Luis Campusano has not proven to be.
Or offensively as well.
Exactly.
Can't stay healthy.
That too.
Can't hit. His defense is very, very suspect.
Other than that,
I think we get it.
You have to be competent there.
Yes.
You can't say, well, Higgy hit 17 home runs, but you don't need 17 home runs. Okay, that's fair. You don't have to have 17 home runs. No, I get you, but you have to have competency. Both ways, so to speak. But calling a game, you have to be competent. You call them really crazy catchers. Again, there's to the Texas point, there's not a lot of great offensive catchers.
So, can you go out and trade for a catcher? There's going to have to be a lot of positions on this team that's filled maybe.
Sleeves, down pants.
Yeah, sleeves and pants.
Right? They got all kinds of things.
Rabbits out of hats.
Yeah.
Rabbits out of pants.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, it's
everything.
The way that they're going to have to build this team for 2025.
Right.
Down his pants.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with building this team now.
Okay.
It just got harder. You know, like if you didn't re-sign Higgy, well, now you have to find another Higgy. And the production that you have lost from the catching position, that's a lot to, replicate for next year. 18 home runs behind the plate for one guy. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Now, Gary Sanchez, the year before that, also put together those types of numbers and was better than Higgy. So, the last 2 years, you've had really good offensive production behind the plate. And for this year, I don't know if they can find something like that can give you that number.
And we have hope. I mean, 704-707.
No, hope is lost. They lost.
Or 877-767-4760. We have hope that Luis Campusano. Can he just put it together, stay healthy, start 100 games, and run it to 16 numbers? It's possible. I mean, he has legitimate power in theory. He's not lacking power. What he's been lacking is health, durability, defensive prowess, ability to hit for average. Has he shown you enough that he's about to turn this corner? And again, be a stopgap until Ethan South gets here in 2026. That's probably the question. The reason there can't be Son as part of the equation, Jim, is he makes no money. Yeah. So he's one of your two catchers next year. Agreed? To start the year. 100%. This is a trade, I guess. Yeah. It's a trade. Yeah.
And when you're looking at pieces to trade away to bring some stuff back to you, Campy would have been in the mix.
Yeah.
Now you can't trade him. No way. Unless you get another catcher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a catcher for catcher. Possible.
But why would somebody give up a better catcher?
They wouldn't. It's
like,
here's our catcher with question marks for your catcher with question marks. You like his skill set. You like his skill set.
I feel like I'm the meat, like Preller. Like, hey, do something.
Not yet, because we're not at the winter meeting.
Correct.
There hasn't been great. The movement is LA based. You've seen the Dodgers spend.
Right.
Yankees aren't.
This is January 15th.
No, like the winter meetings are a week away, so you have to get them.
Still, I want something to happen.
I do, and there's been decent movement. I mean, Blake Snell's a huge name. That's a big free agent shoe to drop. Juan Soto, it's going to happen sooner rather than later. It's not a February move. It's a likely December move. I would say Juan Soto's free agency. So that's huge. Has no impact on the Padres. But things are happening. The Padres, okay, coming out of the winter meetings, will they have made a move? I say yes. Me too. I think that's where we're headed. They have questions that need to be addressed.
Hearing Shildt speak about how Preller has so many things up his sleeves for fans.
Right.
It's kind of, it can be kind of disappointing to get to the winter meeting.
Yes.
Like you expect the A's to make but I would be surprised if Preller doesn't make one move.
I agree. 619 says, I honestly don't think they would let Higgy go if they didn't have something better or equal. They call up as a player over the league. Yeah, better than equal to Higgy? Yeah, maybe. I mean, do they think Campy is better or equal? Campy 2025 equals Higgy 2024. That's a big. I'd love to see it. I don't have much faith in Campy. I have a feeling that Campy is a 30-year-old who will put it together. But the problem is he's not 30. Like I could see him 5 years from now with the Boston Red Sox hitting 22. Couldn't you? Like as a 31-year-old,
like he's traded away because he didn't work out here and all of a sudden somewhere else.
Yeah, but late. It's gonna happen. It's gonna run into 20 balls. But I'm not counting on that. I don't even think he can stay healthy. Well, that's true too. Yeah.
A lot of things I do with certain parameters.
The parameter that's the key. What are the parameters based on? It's all based on spending. I mean, now we have two examples of that. We have Preller telling the media in the year-end press conference, we want to win, but win. And now we have Shildt saying we have things in our pants, but we need to be. What was the word? Practical. So, like, we're getting a feel for the plan, and I think the plan is not go over the CBT.
And the question still remains: how do they do that? And there's not a lot of people with answer that makes everybody happy. Like it's either all right, trade Luis Ariz. Well, that doesn't make a lot of people happy. Trade Dylan Cease. Well, then how are you going to trade the next year if you don't have a trade with the
Yeah, no. Do you think one of those things happens? Cease, Ariz, King. Where else? Give me a fourth.
Because it feels like this ownership group now is
looking at numbers.
Looking at numbers more than like how can we make the best it feels like maybe penny pinchers here to keep it around a number that is quote unquote safe for the organization. Then it looks like a domino has to fall on one of those two players, right?
I don't know. It's like I've done the math for weeks on end since the end of the season. I'm like, where else is it going to be? Cronenworth, not easy. Bogart's impossible. Like, show me the money that can be saved, like a year ago with Soto, which I didn't even like at the time, but it did work out. But give me the example of the one fell swoop save 10 or 15 per year with a player. I mean, those players would be Cease, King, Arise, Cronenworth. And Cronenworth ain't going to be easy. Cease, King, Arise, of course you can move them.
Right.
Of course you can move them. So I don't know. I really don't. I mean, so would you say 51-49, you think one of those three players is moved?
I do, unfortunately, because it feels like to however unlock this box, one of those moves kind of has to happen. I'm against it. I don't want Luis Rice to go anywhere. Same thing with King. Same thing with Dylan Cease.
I'd be really surprised.
I'd be shocked on King. I'd be shocked on Cease.
I wouldn't be shocked on Cease because you're not keeping him beyond 2025.
But then, like, how can you go to your fan base and say we're trying to compete win next year when you trade away one of your best pitchers?
Did you watch last year? Yeah, they went to their fan base and did it without Watson. But drew 3.2 million.
But then they traded for Dylan Cease.
Yeah, and after that, but in real time, we didn't know Dylan Cease was traded for the day the season started.
And healthy Joe Musgrove, please.
Yeah, they didn't put that on the billboard for the healthy Joe Musgrove. You know what I mean? Like they still were selling.
They were, yeah.
And they're still. I listen to the ads. Put us on our wait list. And they'll sell their tickets no matter what they do.
No doubt about it. I just hope that this ownership group, who the hell is the owner of this team? I mean, that's a question that isn't really talked about enough.
It really isn't. We're from the representing ownership chairperson one time. 15 months.
Who the hell is running this team? Who is writing the checks? Who is deciding how much money Preller gets to cook with? Who is that person?
All right, call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs take on USD Saturday night at VA House Arena. Caller 5, you're going. All you have to do is call 877-767-4760. Right now, caller 5, you're going to see San Diego State and USD Saturday at 7 at VA House Arena. Limited tickets may be available at goaztecs.com. Jim's back page next. Let's do this again tomorrow for 4 hours, beginning at 2 p.m.
You know, it is our job. So
Yeah, okay. John Fanta, the iconic college basketball voice of a generation.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
John Fanta.
Big guest alert right there.
Will Brinson, NFL insider.
Oh, baby, what a show tomorrow.
Did he invent the soda too?
He did, Fanta.
Yes.
He invented Pepsi.
He invented college basketball, actually.
Right. So John Fanta will join us tomorrow. Time TBD. So just listen for all 4 hours.
John Fanta. I feel like we're proud parents.
Because what happened this week that was amazing?
Because he was with Frank the Tank from
the Mets
Barstool.
Okay.
Having this big thing. And like we had on John Fanta, I feel like way before Fanta became.
I knew him when he was a freshman at Seton Hall.
Yeah. I was on one of his like podcasts a couple years ago.
I remember.
Now
he's blown up.
Oh my gosh.
He makes Jon and Jim look like Jon and Jim,
which is
basically who we are. Right, exactly. But John Fanta, great college basketball voice, will join us tomorrow. And again, we'll talk NFL with Will Brinson. We are heading into what, week 14? 14. I think it's 5 weeks, including this weekend coming up. So we're heading towards the backstretch of the NFL regular season. Will Brinson will join us tomorrow as well. So here all week from 2 to 6 on Jon and Jim. And right now, let's get to this. It still doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Hearing the sound and then doing the back.
It makes no sense.
Whatever. It's part of the charm of the show.
Today is Cyber Monday, John.
I know. I want to buy things. You see me. All I'm doing is buying things.
I'm going to buy things.
Give me an example of what you're going to buy.
Well, I need to buy Christmas presents.
Okay, but what type of present? Like electronics or
electronics? Yeah.
I love electronics. But who are you buying electronics for? Yourself?
No, Aaron.
Aaron needs electronics?
No. It's an idea I have for a Christmas present.
You don't want her to hear? Tell me.
I don't think she's listening.
No, she's not. But
hold on, see where she's at. She's at home.
Oh yeah, great. Let's just stalk her. Let's turn on the ring lights and the dog lights. And
we don't have to. They have the phone tracker. Remember?
All right, so she's at home right now. So there's 0% chance she's listening to this show.
Perfect. So let's talk. What are you thinking about getting?
Okay, so we saw Wicked the other day. And she loves Wicked. She like saw the original Wicked on Broadway in New York growing up.
This is the movie.
The movie Wicked, yeah. So we saw that yesterday, and she freaking loves it. All she's doing the last week, she's been singing the songs, and now the songs are stuck in my head.
You're getting her a flying monkey.
I'm not getting her a flying monkey, Brent. I'm not getting her a broom.
Okay.
I'm not getting her a hat.
Soundtrack.
Yeah. So my idea was, and I've been wanting it too, so it's kind of like a gift for me, but it's a gift for her.
Right.
I've wanted for the longest time a vinyl record player.
Oh, you don't have one?
No.
I remember my first time on Earth.
And there's like a special limited edition Wicked vinyl that's out right now. So I wanted to get like that with the vinyl record player.
Do it.
And
we have one.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's the way. There's something about listening to music off a record player. It's very in vogue right now. It's different.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So I was thinking of getting that for her.
What?
Yeah.
You're anti-record.
Anti-record?
John, we're old. We remember.
We grew up with them.
Yeah, we grew up with records. So
it's not as
that'd be like, 8 tracks are awesome. It's
right.
Like, no, were they really?
Yeah, no, it's fair.
When they get
in.
Well, nowadays it's just they don't have like the old time record players.
No, they're not as old time. It's not vinyl. A lot of the records are like plastic.
Yeah, it's not. So that was.
But that's a good idea. And honestly, on Cyber Monday, you could probably find a pretty good.
I found
price
one for a good price,
one. Yeah.
You know where I thought you were going with that? Karaoke machine.
No, God, no.
No, you don't.
That would be used one time.
Yeah,
no, but you were talking about how much you love the soundtrack. She's been singing it all week, and this would be a gift for both of you. So I was like, I didn't know.
I love
Aaron. You're into karaoke or something.
I love Aaron more than anything. That girl should not be a singer.
That's the same with Kristen, man.
I mean, none of us should be singers.
Dude, we're breaking glass. My shower door is like
that girl.
Yeah,
man, love her to death, but
she might not be on Broadway except with a ticket.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my idea.
What's that have to do with Backpage again?
Cyber Monday.
Okay. And
did you buy anything for Black Friday?
I did not. So I need to get moving here.
Yeah, you gotta get moving.
Since it's Cyber Monday, Fast food restaurants have Cyber Monday deals.
Okay.
All right.
I'm listening.
McDonald's, you can get a 10-piece McNuggets for $1 in the McDonald's app. No other purchase required.
No other purchase.
That was last month too. Remember, you get one a week.
Well, you know what, Brent?
Yeah, well, they're still doing it.
They're still doing it, all right?
Good.
Arby's, you can get a 50% off any a la carte sandwich, gyro, wrap, or burger in the app or online. At Burger King, get a free Whopper Jr. or a croissant witch with a $1 purchase in the app or online. Panera Bread, John, very underrated. 50% off any breakfast entree with the offer Be Fast 50. Buffalo Wild Wings, you can get 20 boneless wings and a large fry for $16.99. Jack in the Box, you can get a free Jumbo Jack with a $1 purchase. KFC, 30% off a 12-piece chicken meal. And Sonic, you can get half-priced shakes, any size, any flavor, all day long.
I love that.
Name me one thing that I mentioned there.
Sonic and Preller from Shildt on pants.
Okay. It's Monday, so we have new crumble cookie week, John.
Oh, great.
Here we
Deals?
go. 2 new crumble cookie desserts this week. Here's the list.
Down his pants.
Cookies and cream milkshake Oreo cookie. That looks really good. A new candy cane brownie.
Okay.
A new strawberry crinkle cookie. You can get a holiday birthday cake cookie, a caramel toffee butter cake, a lemon bar cookie, milk chocolate chip, and a honey bun.
Honey bun.
Honey bun.
Honey bun.
Excited about that?
Yes, because Kristen goes there like daily because we live 5 feet away from one.
Did I ruin it for you? Because when I mentioned crumble cookie, she's like, "Oh, you get crumble cookie," and now she gets crumble cookie all the time.
She goes all the time with you. Problem. It's a problem, and by problem, it's really not. Right. There you go. Cyber Monday. I gotta look tonight. I just have to buy things. Everything. Thank you. I'm looking for. He's. I live on I know. 40% off. All right. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. We're back tomorrow at 2 p.m. John Fanta, Will Brinson, and more. Beginning at 2 p.m. tomorrow, a week out from the winter meetings, get ready for Aztec basketball on Wednesday as well. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here. This is San Diego Sports 760. Okay, bye. Okay, bye.